In The Mind That Attracts Fortune, you will discover how the science of manifestation can completely transform your relationship with prosperity. This is not just another book about superficial, positive thinking. It's a deep and scientific guide to reprogramming your subconscious mind and aligning your energy with abundance. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract success and prosperity naturally, while others, despite all their efforts, remain stuck in cycles of scarcity? The answer lies in the invisible programming that governs 95% of our thoughts and behaviors, our subconscious mind. Based on the principles of neuroscience, quantum physics, and transpersonal psychology, this audiobook reveals how your limiting beliefs about money and success were embedded in your subconscious from childhood, creating an invisible barrier between you and the abundant life you desire. Through a transformative journey, you will learn how to identify and dissolve the energetic blockages that sabotage your prosperity, reprogram your mind for abundance, and create an irresistible magnetic field that attracts opportunities, relationships, and financial resources. This is not an intellectual process. It's a visceral transformation that occurs when you align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the frequency of prosperity. You will discover that attracting fortune is not a matter of luck or privilege, but of consciously tuning in to the universal laws that govern manifestation. Get ready to awaken the magnetizing power of your mind and create the abundant life you've always known was possible. Chapter 1. The Secret Code of Prosperity. How your subconscious mind was programmed for scarcity, and why you have the power to rewrite that code right now. As you're reading these words, there's an invisible program running in the background of your mind that's either magnetizing prosperity into your life or systematically pushing it away. This program operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, influencing every decision you make about money, every opportunity you notice or miss, and every relationship that could potentially transform your financial reality. The most fascinating part, you didn't consciously choose this program. It was installed during your first 7 years of life, when your brain was operating in what neuroscientists call the theta state, a highly suggestible frequency where everything you observed, heard, and experienced was downloaded directly into your subconscious mind without any analytical filter. Think about that for a moment. Between birth and age 7, your conscious analytical mind, the part that can question, evaluate, and choose, was essentially offline. During these crucial years, you were like a biological recording device, absorbing every belief, emotion, and pattern related to money that existed in your environment. Your parents' anxious conversations about bills, your grandmother's stories about hard times, the cultural messages about money being the root of all evil, or that rich people are greedy. All of this information was programmed directly into your subconscious operating system, the hidden architecture of your financial reality. Here's where it gets truly remarkable. That 7-year-old version of you is still running the show. Research from neuroscience shows us that by the time we reach our mid-30s, approximately 95% of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors have become automatic patterns stored in our subconscious mind. This means that only 5% of your daily experience is actually conscious and within your direct control. When it comes to money and prosperity, this is revolutionary information. It means that your current financial situation isn't really the result of your conscious desires, hard work, or even the economic conditions around you. It's the inevitable outcome of a subconscious program that was written decades ago by a child who had no understanding of how money, success, or abundance actually work. Let me share Sarah's story with you. Sarah came to one of our workshops after years of what she called financial self-sabotage. Despite having an MBA and working in a high-paying consulting firm, she found herself consistently making decisions that undermined her prosperity. She would negotiate lower salaries, avoid asking for raises, and somehow always find ways to spend money just before reaching significant savings milestones. During our session on subconscious reprogramming, Sarah had a profound realization. She remembered being 6 years old, listening to her mother cry at the kitchen table while paying bills. Her father had just left the family, and her mother kept repeating, "We don't have enough. We'll never have enough." In that moment of emotional intensity, little Sarah made an unconscious decision. If having money means Daddy leaves, then I'll never let money come between me and the people I love. For 30 years, Sarah's subconscious mind had been faithfully executing this childhood program, keeping her safe from the perceived threat of abundance driving away love. Once she understood this invisible code, she could finally begin to rewrite it. The neuroplasticity revolution, beautiful truth that neuroscience has revealed, is that your brain possesses an extraordinary quality called neuroplasticity, the ability to reorganize, form new neural connections, and literally rewire itself throughout your entire life. This means that no matter how deeply embedded your scarcity programming might be, it's not permanent. You have the power to consciously create new neural pathways that support abundance, prosperity, and financial success. But here's the key. You can't think your way into a new program. Your subconscious mind doesn't speak the language of logic or reasoning. It speaks the language of emotion, repetition, and elevated states of consciousness. This is why positive affirmations alone rarely create lasting change. When you say, "I am wealthy," while your body is experiencing the familiar emotions of anxiety, worry, or lack, your subconscious receives a mixed signal. The emotional component, which carries far more power, always wins. Think of your subconscious mind as a faithful servant who never questions orders. For decades, it has been receiving consistent emotional signals that say scarcity is normal, money is hard to come by, or I'm not worthy of abundance. These emotional signals create what we call your financial set point, a vibrational frequency that determines what level of prosperity you can comfortably maintain. The quantum field of infinite possibilities. Modern physics has shown us something extraordinary. At the quantum levels, all possibilities exist simultaneously in what scientists call the field of infinite potential. This field contains every possible version of your life, including the one where you're living in complete financial freedom and abundance. The version that becomes your reality depends entirely on the frequency you're transmitting through your thoughts, emotions, and state of being. When you consistently think thoughts of limitation and feel emotions of scarcity, you're essentially tuning into the lack frequency in this quantum field. But when you begin to think thoughts of abundance and generate elevated emotions like gratitude, excitement, and joy, you start tuning into possibilities that contain greater prosperity and success. The most successful people throughout history, whether they understood the science or not, have intuitively grasped this principle. They learned to maintain elevated emotional states and clear intentions, which created a magnetic field around them that attracted resources, opportunities, and supportive relationships. Breaking free from the survival centers. Here's something most people don't realize. When you're operating from stress, anxiety, or any form of survival emotion, your energy becomes trapped in what we call the lower 3 energy centers of your body. These centers are designed to keep you safe and focused on immediate threats, but they also create a very dense, low-frequency energy that repels abundance. When you're worried about money, your energy is literally contracting. You become narrow in your focus, limited in your vision, and unable to perceive the opportunities that exist all around you. This is why some of the best business ideas come to people when they're relaxed, walking in nature, or just emerging from meditation. In these expanded states of consciousness, you're able to access information and possibilities that are invisible when you're trapped in survival mode. The beautiful paradox is that the moment you shift your energy to the higher centers, the heart, throat, and mind, you begin to operate from love, creativity, and wisdom instead of fear. In these elevated states, you naturally become more attractive to the people and circumstances that can support your prosperity. The identity behind your results, there, is a profound truth that runs through every spiritual and psychological tradition. You cannot outperform your identity. Your subconscious mind has a clear picture of who you are when it comes to money and success, and it will do everything in its power to keep your external results consistent with this internal identity. If your subconscious identity says, "I'm someone who struggles financially," then no matter how hard you work or how many opportunities come your way, you'll find ways to return to struggle. If your identity says, "I'm not the type of person who has money," you'll unconsciously sabotage yourself whenever you get close to real abundance. But here's where the real magic happens. When you consciously choose to embody a new identity, when you begin to think, feel, and act as the version of yourself who is already prosperous, your external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself to match this new internal state. This isn't positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is applied neuroscience. When you consistently rehearse new thoughts and emotions, you literally build new neural networks in your brain. As these networks become stronger through repetition, they begin to influence your automatic behaviors, the opportunities you notice, and the decisions you make. Your prosperity blueprint awaits as we journey together through this book. You're going to discover that attracting fortune isn't about manipulating external circumstances or convincing the universe to give you what you want. It's about aligning your internal state, your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the frequency of abundance that already exists within the quantum field. You're going to learn how to identify the specific limiting beliefs that have been running your financial life, and more importantly, how to replace them with empowering programs that serve your highest good. You'll discover how to generate the elevated emotions that magnetize prosperity, and how to maintain these states, even when your external circumstances haven't yet caught up with your internal transformation. Most powerfully, you're going to realize that the capacity for unlimited abundance already exists within you. It's not something you need to acquire or earn. It's something you need to remember and activate. Your prosperity is not dependent on the economy, your background, your education, or your current circumstances. It depends only on your willingness to step into a new version of yourself and allow that elevated identity to guide your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The secret code of prosperity isn't hidden in some external formula or strategy. It's written in the very fabric of your consciousness, waiting for you to remember who you truly are and what you're genuinely capable of creating. Are you ready to rewrite your code? Are you prepared to step into the version of yourself that already knows how to attract and maintain abundant prosperity? The journey begins now. with your willingness to transcend the limitations of your past and embrace the infinite possibilities of your future. The universe is not only ready to support your prosperity, it's been waiting for you to claim it. Chapter 2. The Magnetic Frequency of Abundance. Discovering how your emotions create an energetic field that attracts or repels prosperity. Imagine for a moment that you could see the invisible energy radiating from every person you encounter. Picture walking into a room and witnessing streams of light emanating from each individual, some vibrant and expansive, others dense and contracted. What you'd be seeing is something that mystics have described for millennia, and quantum physics is now beginning to validate. The electromagnetic field that surrounds every human being, constantly broadcasting information about their internal state to the world around them. This energetic signature isn't just spiritual poetry. It's measurable science. The HeartMath Institute has documented that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends 8 to 10 feet beyond the physical body. This field changes moment by moment based on your emotional state, and it's constantly interacting with the fields of other people, opportunities, and even potential outcomes that exist within the quantum realm. When it comes to attracting prosperity, understanding this electromagnetic reality changes everything. Your emotions aren't just internal experiences, they're broadcasting stations, continuously transmitting a signal that either magnetizes abundance toward you or creates an invisible barrier that keeps it at bay. The Science of Emotional Frequencies. Dr. David Hawkins spent decades researching what he called the map of consciousness, documenting how different emotional states vibrate at measurably different frequencies. Using advanced kinesiology testing, he discovered that emotions like shame, guilt, and fear vibrate at extremely low frequencies, below 200 on his scale, while emotions like love, joy, and peace vibrate at frequencies above 500. What's remarkable about this research is that it revealed something extraordinary. Emotions aren't just feelings. They're literally different rates of energy vibration. When you're experiencing fear about money, you're vibrating at approximately 100 hertz. When you're feeling grateful for abundance, you're vibrating closer to 540 hertz. These aren't metaphorical differences. They're measurable energetic states that determine what you can attract into your experience. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to tune into a radio station that broadcasts prosperity and abundance. If your emotional frequency is stuck on 100 hertz, fear and worry, you simply cannot receive the signals that are broadcasting on 540 hertz. Gratitude and joy. It's not that the abundance frequency doesn't exist. It's that you're not tuned in to receive it. Marcus discovered this principle in a profound way. For 15 years, he had been struggling to grow his small marketing business. Despite working 70-hour weeks and employing every strategy he could find, his income remained frustratingly stagnant. His days were filled with anxiety about cash flow, worry about competition, and fear that he wasn't good enough to succeed at the level he desired. During one of our workshops, Marcus participated in an exercise where we measured his heart rate variability, a scientific indicator of emotional coherence. When he thought about his business, his measurements showed complete chaos. His heart rhythm was erratic, his nervous system was in full stress mode, and his electromagnetic field was contracting. In simple terms, his energy was repelling the very success he was desperately trying to create. Then we guided Marcus through a process of shifting into gratitude, not for what he wanted, but for what he already had. As he genuinely felt appreciation for his existing clients, his health, and his family's support. Something remarkable happened. His heart rhythm became coherent, his nervous system shifted into balance, and his electromagnetic field expanded. Within 3 months of consistently maintaining this elevated emotional state, Marcus received 2 major client contracts that doubled his annual revenue. The emotional alchemy of transformation here is where most people get stuck in their manifestation journey. They try to think their way into abundance while their emotional state remains anchored in scarcity. But your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your daily experience, doesn't respond to thoughts. It responds to the chemical signals created by your emotions. When you feel anxious about money, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals don't just affect your mood, they literally change your perception of reality. Under the influence of stress chemistry, your brain becomes hyper-focused on potential threats and problems, making it neurologically impossible to notice opportunities and possibilities. Conversely, when you feel genuinely grateful, joyful, or excited about your financial future, your body produces entirely different chemicals: oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. These elevated emotions don't just make you feel good, they expand your awareness, enhance your creativity, and make you magnetic to synchronicities and unexpected opportunities. The key word here is genuinely. Your body knows the difference between authentic emotion and mental pretending. You can't fake your way into a new frequency, but you can cultivate authentic, elevated emotions by connecting with the feelings you'll experience when your desired prosperity is already manifest in your life. The heart-brain connection. Recent neuroscience research has revealed something that will fundamentally change how you understand manifestation. Your heart contains approximately 40,000 neurons, essentially a mini-brain that's constantly communicating with your head brain. More importantly, the heart sends far more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. This means that when you generate elevated emotions in your heart center, feelings like gratitude, compassion, or joy, you're literally sending coherent signals to your brain that enhance your ability to think clearly, make inspired decisions, and perceive opportunities that were previously invisible to you. When you're in heart coherence, something magical happens to your electromagnetic field. Instead of the chaotic, contracted energy that accompanies stress and worry, you begin to broadcast a clear, powerful signal that resonates with abundance and prosperity. People feel this energy when they're around you, even if they can't consciously identify what's different. You become more attractive to potential business partners, clients, and opportunities because your very presence feels uplifting and inspiring. Dr. Rollin McCraty from the HeartMath Institute discovered that when groups of people synchronize their heart rhythms through collective appreciation or love, they create what he calls a coherent field effect. This amplified electromagnetic field can actually influence the nervous systems of people in the surrounding environment, making them more open, creative, and collaborative. Imagine applying this principle to your business meetings, negotiations, or networking events. When you walk into any situation already in a state of heart coherence, genuinely feeling grateful and excited about mutual prosperity, you're creating an energetic environment where abundance becomes more likely for everyone involved. Breaking free from the addiction to stress here is an uncomfortable truth that most people don't want to acknowledge. Many of us have become unconsciously addicted to the stress emotions that block our prosperity. When you've been worrying about money for years or decades, worry becomes familiar. It feels normal, and the human brain, in its attempt to maintain consistency, will actually seek out thoughts and situations that justify the continuation of familiar emotional states. This is why some people seem to attract one financial crisis after another. It's not that they're unlucky or cursed. It's that their nervous system has become addicted to the chemical cocktail of stress, and they unconsciously create circumstances that allow them to feel the familiar emotions of anxiety and overwhelm. The addiction to stress emotions is particularly challenging because these states trigger the release of chemicals that can be physiologically habit-forming. When you're worried about money, your body releases stress hormones that create a temporary feeling of alertness and control. Over time, your nervous system begins to crave these chemicals. Just like any other addiction, breaking free from this pattern requires more than positive thinking. It requires literally rewiring your nervous system to find fulfillment in elevated emotional states instead of survival emotions. This is where the practice of generating gratitude, joy, and excitement becomes so powerful. You're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing your body's chemical addiction from the drugs of stress to the drugs of elevated emotion. The gratitude gateway. Of all the emotions that can shift your magnetic frequency toward abundance, gratitude stands out as perhaps the most powerful and accessible. There's something uniquely transformative about genuine appreciation that opens doorways in consciousness that remain closed to other emotional states. When you feel truly grateful, you're acknowledging that something wonderful has already occurred. This is crucial because gratitude carries the energetic signature of receiving. Most people try to manifest from a state of wanting or needing, which ironically broadcasts the signal that they don't currently have what they desire. But gratitude says, "It is already done. I have already received." The quantum field responds to this signal by organizing more experiences that match the energy of already having received. This is why people who maintain consistent gratitude practices often report remarkable synchronicities and seemingly miraculous improvements in their financial situations. But here's the sophisticated part. The gratitude that transforms your prosperity frequency isn't just appreciation for what you already have in your physical reality. It's the ability to feel genuine thankfulness for the future you're calling into existence, as if it has already manifested. When you can close your eyes and feel sincere gratitude for the financial freedom, the abundant lifestyle, and the generous impact you'll soon be making in the world. When you can feel those emotions as if they're reflecting on something that has already happened, you're tuning into the frequency where those realities already exist in potential form, dogoherence, the state where miracles become natural. Scientists studying peak performance have identified a specific state of nervous system function called coherence, a condition where your heart, mind, and emotions are in harmony and working together with maximum efficiency. In this state, your brain function is optimized, your intuition is heightened, and your electromagnetic field becomes remarkably organized and powerful. When you're in coherence while focusing on your financial goals, several extraordinary things happen simultaneously. First, your capacity for creative problem-solving increases dramatically. Solutions that were invisible when you were stressed become obvious when you're coherent. Second, your emotional state becomes naturally magnetic to other people who are operating at similar frequencies. Third, you begin to notice synchronicities and opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere. Sarah, whom we met in the previous chapter, learned to access coherence through a simple but powerful practice. Every morning before checking her email or engaging with any external demands, she would spend 10 minutes in what she called her abundance activation. She would place her hand on her heart, slow her breathing, and generate genuine appreciation for 3 things: the opportunities that were already flowing into her life, the financial abundance that was organizing itself around her intentions, and the positive impact she was creating in the world. Within 6 weeks of this daily practice, Sarah noticed that her whole relationship with money had shifted. Instead of anxiously checking her bank account multiple times per day, she found herself trusting that her needs would be met. Instead of accepting lower-paying projects out of fear, she began negotiating confidently for higher rates. Most remarkably, she started receiving unsolicited referrals and opportunities that perfectly matched her desired income level. Emotional, contagion, and the prosperity. Field 1 of the most fascinating aspects of electromagnetic fields is that they're contagious. When you're genuinely vibrating at the frequency of abundance and gratitude, other people unconsciously entrain to your energy. This means that your elevated emotional state actually influences the people around you to become more optimistic, creative, and generous. This principle of emotional contagion explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract business partnerships, investment opportunities, and supportive relationships. It's not just their skills or knowledge, it's the quality of energy they bring to every interaction. Think about the most successful people you know personally. When you're in their presence, how do you feel? Chances are they have learned to maintain elevated emotional states that make you feel more optimistic and inspired when you're around them. This isn't manipulation, it's natural magnetic influence that occurs when someone has aligned their internal state with abundance and prosperity. The beautiful aspect of this phenomenon is that as you learn to maintain your own coherent, abundant frequency, you naturally begin to elevate the people in your environment. Your prosperity consciousness doesn't just attract more wealth into your own life. It creates a field where abundance becomes more available to everyone in your sphere of influence. The emotional signature of wealth people who have successfully attracted significant wealth share certain emotional characteristics that are worth noting. They tend to feel excited about possibilities rather than anxious about problems. They experience genuine appreciation for other people's success rather than jealousy or resentment. They maintain faith in positive outcomes even when temporary circumstances appear challenging. Most importantly, wealthy individuals have learned to generate elevated emotions independent of their external circumstances. They don't wait for their bank account to grow before feeling abundant. They feel abundant first, and their financial reality follows. This emotional independence is perhaps the most crucial skill you can develop on your prosperity journey. When you can access states of gratitude, excitement, and joy regardless of what your current financial situation looks like, you become unstoppable. You're no longer at the mercy of external conditions because your internal state determines your magnetic frequency. As we continue our journey together, you'll discover specific ways to cultivate these elevated emotional states and maintain them consistently. Even when your logical mind wants to focus on limitations and challenges, you'll learn that your emotions are not reactions to your circumstances. They're the creative force that shapes your circumstances. The frequency of abundance is not something you need to find outside yourself. It's a natural state of your heart when it's aligned with gratitude, wonder, and unlimited possibility. Your next step is learning to access this frequency at will and broadcast it consistently into the quantum field that's always organizing itself around your dominant emotional state. The wealth you desire isn't just coming to you. It's being magnetically drawn to the irresistible frequency of your elevated heart. Chapter 3. Deactivating the invisible saboteurs. Identifying and dissolving the limiting beliefs about money that operate in your subconscious. There's a hidden war being fought in your mind every day. a battle between the conscious desires you hold for prosperity and abundance, and the invisible programs running in your subconscious that were designed to keep you safe, small, and struggling. These subconscious programs are like invisible saboteurs working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that your external reality never exceeds what your deepest programming believes you deserve or can safely handle. Most people live their entire lives completely unaware that this internal conflict is taking place. They consciously want financial freedom, set goals for greater income, and work tirelessly toward success, all while unconscious programming systematically undermines their efforts. It's like trying to drive forward with one foot on the gas pedal and the other firmly planted on the brake. You'll move, but slowly, inefficiently, and with tremendous internal friction. The truth is that until you identify and dissolve these limiting beliefs about money, wealth, and your own worthiness, you'll remain trapped in what psychologists call the glass ceiling effect, an invisible barrier that keeps you operating at a level far below your true potential. But here's the empowering reality. Once you become conscious of these programs, they lose their power over you. In the light of awareness, limiting beliefs dissolve like shadows when the sun rises. The architecture of financial limitation. Your limiting beliefs about money weren't formed through rational analysis or conscious choice. They were created during emotionally charged moments, usually in childhood, when your young mind was attempting to make sense of complex situations involving money, family dynamics, and survival. In those moments of confusion or emotional intensity, your subconscious mind created what we might call protective beliefs. Internal rules designed to keep you safe from what it perceived as potential threats. For example, if you witnessed your parents fighting frequently about money, your young mind might have concluded that money causes conflict and destroys relationships. If you grew up in a household where wealthy people were consistently criticized or judged, you might have developed the belief that having money makes you a bad person, or rich people are selfish and greedy. If your family struggled financially and you heard repeated messages about not having enough, your subconscious might have decided that there's never enough money to go around, or money is hard to come by. The challenge is that these beliefs, formed in childhood, continue to operate in your adult life with the same protective intensity they had when you were young. Your subconscious mind doesn't update these programs based on new information or changed circumstances. It simply continues to run the same protective protocols it installed decades ago. Dr. Bruce Lipton's groundbreaking research in epigenetics revealed that our subconscious beliefs actually control our biology. When you hold limiting beliefs about money, you're not just affecting your financial outcomes. You're literally changing your physiology in ways that support those beliefs. If your subconscious believes that wealthy people are bad, it will create stress responses whenever you begin to accumulate wealth, forcing you to unconsciously sabotage your success to maintain alignment with your deeper programming. The most common financial saboteurs. Through decades of working with thousands of individuals on their prosperity journey, certain limiting beliefs appear again and again, operating like invisible viruses in the consciousness of otherwise intelligent, capable people. Let me share the most common saboteurs so you can begin to recognize their influence in your own life. The unworthiness virus. Perhaps the most devastating of all limiting beliefs is the deep-seated conviction that you don't deserve wealth, success, or abundance. This belief often forms during childhood when you internalize critical messages about your value, your capabilities, or your place in the world. People carrying this virus will unconsciously reject opportunities, undersell their services, or find ways to give away money as quickly as they receive it, because deep down, they don't believe they deserve to have it. Rebecca carried this virus for 43 years without realizing it. Despite being a brilliant attorney, she consistently charged less than her peers, worked for clients who didn't value her expertise, and found herself apologizing for her success whenever she did well. During one of our deep-diving sessions, she remembered being 8 years old when her mother, overwhelmed with financial stress, screamed at her, "You're such a burden. Do you know how much money it costs just to feed and clothe you?" In that moment, Rebecca's young mind concluded that her very existence was a financial drain on others, a belief that had been sabotaging her financial success for 3.5 decades. The scarcity. Inheritance. Many people unconsciously inherit scarcity programming from previous generations. If your grandparents lived through the Great Depression, if your parents experienced significant financial hardship, or if your cultural background carries messages about the nobility of struggle and the danger of abundance, you may be carrying scarcity beliefs that aren't even yours originally. This inherited programming often shows up as an inability to spend money on yourself, chronic anxiety about running out of resources, or the compulsive need to hoard money rather than invest it in growth opportunities. People with scarcity inheritance often feel guilty when they have more than their family members and unconsciously limit their success to maintain connection with their tribe. The money spirituality split. One of the most common limiting beliefs in conscious, spiritually minded individuals is the idea that money and spirituality are incompatible, that you cannot be both wealthy and spiritual, both successful and authentic. This belief system often includes programs like, "Money is the root of all evil," "Spiritual people shouldn't care about material things," or "Poverty is noble and purifying." This particular saboteur is especially insidious because it disguises financial limitation as spiritual superiority. People carrying this programming often struggle with chronic under-earning, while convincing themselves that their financial challenges are evidence of their higher spiritual development. The Safety Through Struggle program. Some individuals have unconsciously learned that struggle and hardship are necessary for safety, love, or belonging. Perhaps they received attention and care from parents only when they were struggling, or maybe their family system operated on the belief that easy come, easy go, and only money earned through suffering was real or lasting. This programming creates people who unconsciously sabotage themselves whenever things start to flow too easily. They'll create problems, complicate simple situations, or reject opportunities that come without significant struggle because their subconscious equates ease with danger. The success, isolation, fear. Many people carry the hidden belief that success and wealth will isolate them from the people they love. This fear often develops in childhood when a parent works long hours to provide financially, creating the association that financial success requires sacrificing relationships and connection. People with this program will unconsciously limit their success to maintain their current social connections, fearing that if they become too successful, they'll lose their friends, be judged by their family, or become isolated in their achievement. The physiology of limitation. What makes limiting beliefs so powerful is that they don't just exist as thoughts. They become embodied as physical patterns in your nervous system, When you hold a limiting belief about money, your body actually changes its posture, breathing, and biochemistry to support that belief. If you believe that wealthy people are arrogant, your body will unconsciously adopt humble, diminished postures whenever you begin to experience success. If you believe that money is hard to come by, your body will tense up and contract whenever you think about your financial goals. These physical patterns then reinforce the limiting beliefs, creating a feedback loop that keeps the saboteur programs running automatically. Dr. Candace Pert's research on neuropeptides revealed that emotions literally become stored in the tissues of your body. This means that your limiting beliefs about money aren't just mental concepts. They're biochemical realities that influence your cellular function, your immune system, and your overall vitality. The good news is that just as limiting beliefs can become embodied, empowering beliefs can also be integrated into your physiology. When you begin to embody beliefs like, "I deserve abundance," or "money flows to me easily," your posture changes, your breathing deepens, and your biochemistry shifts to support these new programs. The sneaky nature of unconscious sabotage. One of the most challenging aspects of limiting beliefs is how cleverly they disguise themselves as rational thinking, practical concerns, or even spiritual wisdom. Your saboteur programs are extremely sophisticated. They don't usually announce themselves by making you think, "I don't deserve money." Instead, they operate through seemingly logical justifications and reasonable-sounding excuses. For instance, instead of recognizing that you have an unworthiness program, you might find yourself thinking, "I need more education before I can charge higher rates," or "I should wait until I have more experience before pursuing that opportunity." Instead of acknowledging a fear of success, you might tell yourself, "I don't want to become materialistic," or "money isn't that important to me anyway." These rational-sounding thoughts feel reasonable to your conscious mind, but they're actually sophisticated defense mechanisms designed to keep you operating within the boundaries of your limiting beliefs. The key to recognizing saboteur thinking is to notice the emotional quality underneath the thoughts. Limiting beliefs always carry an energy of contraction, fear, or resignation, while empowering beliefs feel expansive, exciting, and inspiring. The family system web. Perhaps the most complex aspect of limiting beliefs is how they're woven into your family system and cultural identity. Many of your money beliefs weren't just individually formed. They're part of a larger web of family programming that has been passed down through generations. Consider Maria's story. Maria was a talented graphic designer who consistently struggled to earn more than $35,000 per year, despite living in a city where her skills could easily command twice that amount. During our work together, we discovered that her entire extended family operated within an unspoken belief system that real work is physical work, and creative people are impractical dreamers who can't make real money. Every time Maria began to succeed financially through her creative talents, she would unconsciously sabotage herself through missed deadlines, underpricing her work, or taking on projects that drained her energy. Her subconscious was protecting her connection to her family system by ensuring she never became too successful in ways that her family couldn't understand or relate to. The healing came when Maria realized that she could honor her family's work ethic while expanding their definition of valuable contribution. She began to reframe her creative work as a service that helped businesses communicate more effectively, and she started sharing stories with her family about how her designs were helping real people solve real problems. As her family began to see her work as legitimate and valuable, Maria's internal permission to succeed financially increased dramatically. The gender and cultural dimensions limiting beliefs about money are often intertwined with gender conditioning and cultural programming in ways that can be difficult to recognize and address. Women, for instance, often carry inherited beliefs about money being unfeminine, or that pursuing wealth makes them aggressive or less attractive. Men might carry programming that their worth is entirely dependent on their financial success, creating anxiety and stress that actually inhibits their ability to prosper. Cultural programming can be equally limiting. Some cultures teach that individual success should be sacrificed for family harmony, while others promote competition to such an extreme that collaboration becomes impossible. Religious programming might include beliefs about poverty being virtuous or wealth being inherently corrupting. The key to transcending these cultural and gender limitations is not to reject your background, but to consciously choose which aspects of your inherited programming serve your highest good, and which need to be updated for the person you're becoming. The perfectionism trap. One of the most sophisticated saboteur programs is perfectionism, the belief that you must be flawless, completely prepared, or thoroughly qualified before you can succeed financially. While perfectionism often masquerades as a positive trait, it's actually a fear-based program designed to keep you from taking the risks necessary for significant financial growth. Perfectionistic thinking sounds like, I need to learn more before I can start. I'm not ready yet. What if I make a mistake? Or, I need to have everything figured out first. These thoughts feel responsible and careful, but they actually function to keep you perpetually preparing and never fully engaging with the opportunities that could transform your financial reality. The antidote to perfectionism is what we call progressive mastery, the understanding that excellence is developed through engagement, not through endless preparation. The most successful people are not those who waited until they were perfect. They're those who started before they felt ready and learned through action. The comparison saboteur. In our hyper-connected world, one of the most prevalent limiting beliefs is the comparison trap, the unconscious habit of measuring your financial progress against other people's apparent success. Social media has amplified this saboteur program exponentially, creating constant opportunities to feel behind or not enough, compared to carefully curated presentations of other people's lives. The comparison saboteur operates through thoughts like, everyone else is more successful than me, I'm too young to start now, or I missed my opportunity. These comparisons create what psychologists call compare and despair, a state of discouragement that actually lowers your vibration and makes you less magnetic to opportunities. The antidote to comparison thinking is what we call unique path awareness, the deep understanding that your prosperity journey is entirely individual and cannot be meaningfully compared to anyone else's experience. Your timing, your gifts, your opportunities, and your version of abundance are completely unique to you. Breaking the trance of limitation. The first step in dissolving limiting beliefs is simply becoming aware that they exist and recognizing how they operate in your life. Most people live in what we might call a trance of limitation, automatically accepting thoughts and beliefs without questioning their origin or validity. Breaking this trance requires developing what we call belief detective skills, the ability to observe your thoughts and emotional reactions around money with curiosity rather than automatic acceptance. When you notice yourself feeling anxious about money, instead of just accepting the anxiety as reality, you can ask, what belief is creating this feeling? Where did this belief come from? Is this belief actually true? Does this belief serve who I'm becoming? This process of conscious questioning begins to create space between you and your limiting beliefs. You start to recognize that you are not your beliefs. You are the consciousness that can observe, evaluate, and choose your beliefs. The dissolution process. Once you've identified a limiting belief, the process of dissolving it requires more than just intellectual understanding. Remember, these beliefs were formed during emotionally charged moments, and they're maintained by emotional energy. To truly transform them, you need to engage the same emotional intelligence that created them. The most effective approach is what we call emotional alchemy. The process of consciously transforming the emotional energy that maintains a limiting belief into the emotional energy that supports an empowering belief. This isn't about suppressing or fighting the old belief. It's about lovingly transforming its energy into something that serves your highest good. For example, if you discover that you hold the belief, I don't deserve wealth, you don't try to force yourself to believe the opposite. Instead, you might begin by generating genuine appreciation for all the ways you do contribute value to the world. As you feel authentic gratitude for your gifts and positive impact, you naturally begin to shift into the emotional frequency of worthiness. The integration challenge. One of the most important aspects of belief transformation is understanding that changing limiting beliefs isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process of integration. Your old programs didn't develop overnight, and they won't disappear overnight. They require patient, consistent attention and the willingness to keep choosing empowering beliefs, even when your old programming tries to reassert itself. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, you have to consciously translate everything, and it feels awkward and unfamiliar. But with consistent practice, the new language becomes natural and automatic. Similarly, as you consistently choose empowering beliefs about money and prosperity, they gradually become your new, automatic programming. The key is to be patient and compassionate with yourself during this integration process. Every time you notice an old limiting belief arising, you can celebrate your awareness and gently redirect your attention toward the empowering belief you're cultivating. The freedom on the other side. As you begin to dissolve the limiting beliefs that have been constraining your financial reality, you'll discover something remarkable. The problem was never your circumstances, your background, your education, or your opportunities. The only thing that was ever limiting your prosperity was the invisible barriers you were carrying in your own consciousness. When these barriers dissolve, you don't just change your financial situation. You transform your entire relationship with possibility itself. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You feel excitement where you once felt anxiety. You experience confidence where you once felt doubt. Most importantly, you realize that your capacity for prosperity is actually unlimited, not because the external world has changed, but because the internal constraints have been removed. You're the same person with the same background and the same circumstances, but you're now operating from an entirely different set of beliefs about what's possible for your life. This is the true power of belief transformation. It doesn't just change what you have, it changes who you know yourself to be. And when your identity aligns with abundance and possibility, Your external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself to match your new internal programming. The invisible saboteurs that have been running your financial life in the background are not your enemies. They're outdated programs that once served to protect you, but now limit you. With awareness, compassion, and consistent practice, you can reprogram these old patterns and step into the financial freedom that has always been your birthright. Your prosperity is not a dream to be achieved. It's a reality waiting to be uncovered beneath the layers of limitation you've been unconsciously carrying. The journey continues as you learn to embody these new beliefs and integrate them into every aspect of your relationship with money, success, and your own infinite potential. Chapter 4. The Alchemy of Gratitude and Visualization. How elevated states of consciousness magnetize resources and opportunities into your life. There exists a profound secret that the most prosperous individuals throughout history have discovered, often without fully understanding the science behind it. When you can genuinely feel grateful for something that hasn't yet manifested in your physical reality, you collapse the time between desire and fulfillment. This isn't mystical thinking. It's quantum mechanics applied to consciousness. When you feel authentic appreciation for your future abundance as if it's already present, you're literally tuning into a timeline where that reality already exists. The ancient alchemists sought to transform base metals into gold through mystical processes and sacred formulas. What they were actually discovering, in symbolic form, was the ultimate alchemy, the transformation of ordinary human consciousness into the golden frequency of unlimited possibility. Today, neuroscience has revealed that this transformation happens through specific combinations of elevated emotion and clear intention, the very elements that make gratitude and visualization such powerful manifestation tools. But here's where most people miss the mark. They try to visualize from a state of lack, hoping that mental images alone will somehow convince the universe to deliver what they want. True manifestation alchemy happens when you combine crystal-clear vision with the elevated emotions you'll feel when that vision is already your lived reality. This is the difference between wishful thinking and conscious creation. The neuroscience of future memory. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research has shown us something extraordinary about the human brain. It cannot distinguish between a vivid mental experience and an actual physical experience. When you visualize with sufficient emotional intensity and sensory detail, your brain creates the same neural networks that would be formed if you were actually living that experience. This means that when you repeatedly visualize yourself living in financial abundance, feeling the emotions, seeing the environments, and experiencing the lifestyle, you're literally rewiring your brain to become familiar with prosperity. Your nervous system begins to recognize abundance as normal rather than foreign, which eliminates the internal resistance that has been blocking your financial growth. Think of it as creating a future memory. Just as your brain stores memories of past experiences, it can also store detailed impressions of future experiences through conscious visualization. These future memories become magnetic templates that draw corresponding experiences into your physical reality. The key is specificity combined with emotional authenticity. Vague visualizations create vague results, but when you can see, feel, hear, smell, and taste your abundant future, with the same clarity you remember your actual past, you're programming your subconscious mind to seek out and recognize opportunities that match your vision. The Gratitude Portal. Gratitude operates as a portal between your current reality and your desired future. When you feel genuinely thankful, you're accessing a unique emotional state that simultaneously acknowledges present blessings while being open to receive even greater good. This creates what quantum physicists call a coherent state, a condition where your thoughts, emotions, and energy are perfectly aligned. Most people approach gratitude backwards. They think they'll feel grateful when they have more money, better circumstances, or greater success. But transformational gratitude works in reverse. You feel grateful first, which then magnetizes the experiences that match that appreciation. Jennifer discovered this principle during a period when her small catering business was struggling to survive. Instead of focusing on her dwindling bank account and mounting bills, she began each day by feeling genuine gratitude for the abundant success that was organizing itself around her intentions. She would close her eyes and feel sincere appreciation for the thriving business, the grateful clients, and the financial freedom that she could sense was already moving toward her in the quantum field. This wasn't positive thinking or denial of her current circumstances. Jennifer could still see her bank balance and acknowledge her challenges, but she chose to invest her emotional energy in the reality she was creating rather than the reality she was leaving behind. Within 3 months, she received 2 large corporate catering contracts that completely transformed her business, seemingly out of nowhere. The art of emotional time travel. True visualization is actually a form of emotional time travel. You're projecting your consciousness into your desired future and experiencing the emotions you'll feel when that future becomes your present reality. This emotional experience in advance is what creates the magnetic pull that draws your vision into manifestation. When you visualize yourself checking a bank account with your desired balance, the goal isn't just to see the numbers on the screen. The goal is to feel the deep sense of security, gratitude, and possibility that comes with knowing you have abundant resources available. When you envision yourself living in your dream home, you want to experience the pride, comfort, and joy of actually being in that space. These elevated emotions aren't just pleasant feelings. They're literally information that you're broadcasting into the quantum field. Every emotion has a unique energetic signature, and emotions of abundance, gratitude, and fulfillment vibrate at frequencies that attract corresponding experiences. The most powerful visualization sessions happen when you lose track of whether you're imagining your desired future or remembering something that has already occurred. This is the moment when your brain truly accepts your vision as real, creating the neural pathways that will guide your actions and choices toward manifesting that reality. Beyond wishful thinking, there's a crucial distinction between effective visualization and mere wishful thinking. Wishful thinking carries an underlying energy of lack. You're hoping for something because you don't currently have it. True visualization carries the energy of gratitude and certainty. You're emotionally experiencing something because it's already organizing itself in your reality. This difference in emotional quality changes everything about how your visualization affects your subconscious programming. When you visualize from lack, you're actually reinforcing the neural patterns of not having what you want. But when you visualize from abundance and gratitude, you're creating neural patterns of having already received. The test of effective visualization is simple. After your session, do you feel more anxious about your current circumstances or more confident about your future? If visualization leaves you feeling frustrated about the gap between your vision and your reality, you're still operating from lack. If visualization leaves you feeling peaceful and certain about your path forward, you're accessing the creative power of elevated emotion. The sensory symphony of manifestation. Your subconscious mind thinks in images, sounds, feelings, tastes, and smells, not in words or abstract concepts. This is why the most powerful visualizations engage all of your senses in creating a complete experiential preview of your desired reality. When visualizing financial abundance, don't just think about having money. See yourself confidently handling beautiful checks with your name on them. Hear the sound of your accountant telling you about your growing investment portfolio. Feel the texture of the high-quality materials in your dream home. Smell the leather interior of the car you'll drive when money is no longer a concern. Taste the celebration dinner you'll enjoy when you reach your first major financial milestone. This multi-sensory approach creates what neuroscientists call embodied cognition. Your body begins to literally embody the experience you're visualizing. Your posture changes, your breathing deepens, and your biochemistry shifts to match the emotional state of your visualization. These physical changes then reinforce the mental programming, creating a powerful feedback loop that accelerates manifestation. The present moment. Paradox. One of the most profound aspects of manifestation alchemy is that it happens entirely in the present moment. You're not trying to create something in the future. You're accessing a dimension of reality where your desired outcome already exists and bringing that energy into your current experience. This is why effective visualization feels timeless. You're not projecting yourself into some distant future. You're expanding your present moment awareness to include realities that exist beyond your current physical circumstances. In quantum terms, you're collapsing the wave function of possibility into a specific experiential reality through the power of conscious observation combined with elevated emotion. Marcus learned to access this timeless state through what he called his abundance immersion practice. Instead of visualizing for a specific duration or following a particular technique, he would simply close his eyes and allow himself to drop into the feeling of already being abundant. Sometimes this lasted 5 minutes, sometimes 30. The duration didn't matter. What mattered was reaching that state where he genuinely felt wealthy, grateful, and excited about his financial reality. In this state, Marcus would naturally begin to see images of his successful business, feel the emotions of financial freedom, and experience the lifestyle he was creating. But these visions weren't something he was trying to create. They were something he was remembering from his future. Within 6 months of developing this practice, Marcus's business revenue had tripled, and he was consistently attracting the high-value clients he had been visualizing. The alchemy of elevated emotion. The most transformational aspect of combining gratitude with visualization is how it alchemizes your emotional state from survival-based feelings to what we call creation emotions. When you're worried about money, anxious about the future, or frustrated with your current circumstances, you're operating from the chemistry of stress. These emotions literally shrink your awareness and make you incapable of perceiving opportunities and possibilities. But when you generate authentic gratitude for your abundant future, while visualizing that future with sensory clarity, you shift into entirely different brain states. Your nervous system moves from sympathetic activation, fight or flight, to parasympathetic coherence, rest and digest. Your brain waves shift from chaotic beta patterns to coherent alpha and theta rhythms. Your heart rate becomes coherent, and your electromagnetic field expands. In these elevated states, several remarkable things happen simultaneously. Your intuition becomes more accessible, allowing you to receive insights and guidance about action steps. Your creativity is enhanced, helping you see solutions and opportunities that were invisible when you were stressed. Your presence becomes more magnetic, making other people naturally drawn to support and collaborate with you. The compound effect of daily practice. Like compound interest in finance, the effects of daily gratitude and visualization practice build exponentially over time. Each session not only creates immediate benefits in your emotional state and energy field, but it also adds to a cumulative effect that fundamentally rewires your relationship with prosperity. In the early stages, you might notice that you feel more optimistic and confident after your practice. As you continue, you'll begin to notice synchronicities and opportunities appearing in your life with increasing frequency. Over time, these small shifts compound into major transformations in your financial reality. The key is consistency rather than intensity. A genuine 5-minute session of grateful visualization practiced daily is far more powerful than an hour-long session practiced once per week. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition, and each time you choose to feel grateful for your abundant future, you're strengthening the neural pathways that support prosperity consciousness. Integration with daily life. The ultimate goal of gratitude and visualization practice isn't just to have powerful sessions in meditation. It's to integrate elevated emotional states into your ordinary daily activities. As you become more skilled at accessing gratitude and abundance consciousness during formal practice, you can begin to bring these states into your business meetings, financial decisions, and money-related conversations. Imagine negotiating a salary increase from a state of genuine gratitude for the value you provide, rather than anxiety about whether you deserve more money. Picture making investment decisions from a place of abundance consciousness, rather than fear of loss. Consider how differently you would handle financial challenges if you could maintain grateful confidence in your ability to attract resources and solutions. This integration transforms your entire energetic relationship with money. Instead of approaching financial situations from contracted states of worry or need, you begin to engage with money from expanded states of appreciation and possibility. This shift in your energetic approach changes how other people respond to you and dramatically increases your capacity to attract and create wealth. The alchemy of gratitude and visualization isn't just a manifestation technique. It's a complete transformation of your consciousness from limitation to possibility, from fear to love, from separation to connection with the infinite creative power of the universe. As you master this alchemy, you discover that attracting prosperity isn't something you do. It's something you become. Your abundant future isn't waiting for you somewhere in time. It's waiting for you to recognize it, feel it, and embody it right here, right now. The moment you can feel genuinely grateful for the wealth that's organizing itself around your intentions, you step into the creative flow where miracles become natural and abundance becomes inevitable. Chapter 5. Reprogramming your financial DNA. Liberating yourself from ancestral patterns of scarcity and creating a new lineage of prosperity. Within the cells of your body lies a story that began long before you were born. A story written in the language of survival, struggle, and the deep-seated beliefs about money that your ancestors carried through generations of triumph and hardship. This story, encoded in what we might call your financial DNA, has been quietly influencing your relationship with prosperity for your entire life, operating like an invisible inheritance that you never consciously chose to receive. Your great-grandmother, who lived through the Great Depression. Your grandfather, who worked 3 jobs to support his family. Your parents, who argued about money behind closed doors. All of their fears, beliefs, and survival strategies have been passed down to you, not just through the stories they told, but through the energetic imprints they carried in their nervous systems. Recent discoveries in epigenetics have shown us that traumatic experiences and survival patterns can actually alter gene expression in ways that are inherited by future generations. But here's the remarkable truth that changes everything. Just as you inherited these patterns, you also have the power to transform them. You are not destined to repeat the financial struggles of your lineage. In fact, you have the extraordinary opportunity to become what we call a lineage healer. Someone who consciously breaks generational patterns of limitation and establishes new traditions of abundance that will benefit not only your own life, but the lives of generations yet to come. The inheritance you never requested. Most people never stop to consider how deeply their financial beliefs are rooted in their family history, the way you think about money, your comfort level with wealth, your fears about scarcity, and even your capacity to receive abundance. All of these have been shaped by generations of family programming that occurred long before you developed your own conscious relationship with prosperity. Consider Elena's story. Despite being a successful real estate agent in a thriving market, Elena found herself unable to build any significant savings. Every time her bank account grew beyond a few $1,000s, unexpected expenses would arise, or she would make impulsive purchases that brought her balance back down to a barely survivable level. She couldn't understand why someone with her income and financial knowledge seemed incapable of creating real wealth. During our work together, we explored Elena's family history around money. Her grandmother had fled poverty in Eastern Europe with nothing but the clothes on her back. Her mother had grown up hearing constant warnings about saving every penny because you never know when hard times will come again. Elena's family had developed what we call survival hoarding, an unconscious belief that holding on to money attracts disaster, while staying poor keeps you safe from loss. Elena's subconscious had inherited the program that said, wealthy people become targets, and money brings danger. Every time she began to accumulate real wealth, her nervous system would activate ancient survival fears that had been passed down through 3 generations of women who had learned that scarcity was safer than abundance. The epigenetic revolution. Dr. Rachel Yehuda's groundbreaking research with Holocaust survivors revealed something that revolutionized our understanding of inherited trauma. She discovered that the children and grandchildren of trauma survivors showed altered stress hormone profiles and gene expressions that were consistent with having experienced trauma themselves, even though they had never directly experienced those traumatic events. This research revealed that our ancestors' experiences don't just influence us through the stories they tell or the beliefs they teach. They actually alter our biology in ways that can be passed down through generations. When your great-grandfather experienced extreme financial hardship, the stress of that experience may have created genetic changes that were passed down to your grandfather, then to your parent, and finally to you. But here's the empowering flip side of this discovery. If negative patterns can be inherited, positive changes can also be transmitted to future generations. When you consciously transform your relationship with money and abundance, you're not just changing your own life. You're literally changing the genetic and energetic legacy you'll pass on to your children and their children. You have the power to become what epigenetic researchers call a pattern interrupter, someone who stops a negative generational cycle and begins a positive one. Every time you choose abundance consciousness over scarcity thinking, you're not just making a personal choice. You're making a generational choice that will ripple forward through time. The family field of limitation. Beyond genetic inheritance, families also create what we might call morphic fields, invisible energy patterns that maintain certain emotional and behavioral norms within the family system. These fields operate like energetic agreements about what's acceptable, safe, and possible for family members to experience. Many families have unconscious agreements about money that sound like, "We're not the kind of people who have money," "Rich people are different from us," or "Money changes people for the worse." These agreements create an invisible ceiling on how much prosperity any family member can comfortably maintain without feeling like they're betraying their tribe. The challenge is that these family fields operate through emotional pressure rather than logical argument. When you begin to transcend your family's financial limitations, you might experience guilt, anxiety, or a strange compulsion to sabotage your success, not because you don't want to be successful, but because your nervous system is responding to the energetic pressure to remain loyal to family patterns. Michael experienced this pressure intensely when his tech startup began generating significant revenue. Despite his conscious excitement about his business success, he found himself plagued by anxiety attacks and insomnia whenever he thought about his growing wealth. During our exploration, he realized that his entire family operated on the belief that honest work is hard work, and that making money too easily was somehow dishonest or illegitimate. Michael's success was triggering a deep fear that he was betraying his family's values, even though his family had never explicitly told him that success was wrong. The fear was operating at a much deeper level, in the family field that maintained certain beliefs about what was acceptable for someone with his background and upbringing, breaking the generational spell. The first step in liberating yourself from inherited financial patterns is recognizing that they exist and understanding that they are not actually yours. The scarcity fears you carry, the wealth limitations you experience, and the prosperity blocks you encounter may have nothing to do with your personal experiences and everything to do with programs you inherited from ancestors who lived in very different times and circumstances. Your great-grandmother's fear of financial instability made perfect sense in her environment. She may have lived through wars, depressions, or economic upheavals where scarcity was a genuine survival threat. But that same fear, operating in your life today, may be preventing you from recognizing and seizing opportunities for abundance that your ancestor could never have imagined. The key is to honor your ancestors' experiences while recognizing that you have the opportunity to write a different chapter in your family's financial story. You can feel grateful for the survival strategies that allowed your lineage to continue, while consciously choosing to evolve beyond the limitations that those strategies created. This process requires what we call compassionate discernment, the ability to separate what serves your current life from what served your ancestors' very different circumstances. You're not rejecting your family heritage. You're allowing it to evolve through you into something more expansive and abundant. The ritual of financial forgiveness. One of the most powerful practices for healing inherited financial patterns is what we call ancestral financial forgiveness. This isn't about forgiving specific people for specific actions. It's about releasing the emotional charge around inherited money beliefs so that they lose their power to influence your current choices. The practice begins with recognizing that your ancestors did the best they could with the knowledge resources, and circumstances they had available. Their financial fears and limitations weren't character flaws. They were adaptive responses to real challenges they faced in their environment. You can imagine speaking directly to your ancestral lineage, saying something like, "I honor the struggles you endured and the survival strategies you developed. I understand that your fears about money and scarcity served to protect our family line and ensure that I could be here today. I am grateful for your sacrifices and your resilience. Now I choose to evolve our family's relationship with abundance beyond what was possible in your time. I release any inherited patterns of financial limitation with love, and I claim our lineage's right to prosper and thrive." This practice often creates an immediate shift in how you feel about money and success. When you stop carrying your ancestors' financial fears as if they were your own personal truths, you create space for new possibilities to emerge in your consciousness. Rewriting the family story. As you begin to transcend inherited financial limitations, you have the opportunity to become what we call a generational bridge, someone who connects the wisdom of the past with the possibilities of the future. You can honor your family's resilience and survival skills while updating their beliefs about what's possible and safe in the modern world. This might involve having conscious conversations with living family members about money, sharing your new perspectives on abundance, and modeling a different relationship with prosperity. You're not trying to convince anyone else to change. You're simply demonstrating that it's possible to maintain family connection while expanding beyond inherited limitations. Sarah discovered that as she began to prosper in her consulting business, some family members responded with criticism and concern. Instead of hiding her success or feeling guilty about it, she learned to share her abundance in ways that felt comfortable to her family. She began helping with family expenses, funding family gatherings, and using her prosperity to strengthen family bonds rather than create division. Over time, Sarah's family began to see that her wealth enhanced rather than threatened their relationships. Her success became a source of family pride rather than family tension, and several family members began asking her for advice about improving their own financial situations. The new ancestral blueprint. As you transform your relationship with money and abundance, you're literally creating a new energetic blueprint that will influence your children, their children, and generations you may never meet. Every time you choose confidence over fear, abundance over scarcity, or generosity over hoarding, you're encoding new possibilities into your family's energetic DNA. This is perhaps the most meaningful aspect of prosperity consciousness work, realizing that you're not just changing your own life, but you're healing your lineage both backward and forward in time. You're completing unfinished emotional business from the past while creating new possibilities for the future. Children who grow up around parents with healthy abundance consciousness inherit very different beliefs about money, success, and their own capacity to prosper. They develop nervous systems that are comfortable with wealth, identities that include the possibility of success, and emotional patterns that support rather than sabotage prosperity. The collective healing. Your personal transformation of inherited financial patterns contributes to a larger healing that's happening in human consciousness around money and abundance. As more people awaken to the possibility of transcending generational limitations, we're collectively evolving beyond survival-based economics toward abundance-based prosperity. This collective shift is already visible in the emergence of new economic models that prioritize sustainability over exploitation, collaboration over competition, and shared prosperity over hoarding wealth. Your personal healing contributes to this larger transformation by adding your voice to the growing chorus of people who refuse to accept limitation as inevitable. Living the new legacy. As you establish new patterns of abundance consciousness, it's important to consciously anchor these changes so they become permanent features of your family's energetic blueprint, rather than temporary improvements that revert to old patterns under stress. This anchoring happens through consistent choice-making that reinforces your new relationship with money. Every time you make a financial decision from abundance consciousness, rather than scarcity fear, you're strengthening the new neural pathways and energetic patterns you're creating. It also happens through ritual and ceremony, consciously marking your transformation and claiming your family's evolved relationship with prosperity. This might involve creating a vision board that represents your family's new financial legacy, writing a letter to future generations about the changes you've made, or simply taking time to feel grateful for the healing you've facilitated. The most important aspect of living your new legacy is remembering that you are not just healing for yourself. You are healing for all the ancestors who carried financial fear and all the descendants who will benefit from the abundance consciousness you're establishing. Your willingness to transcend inherited limitations and embrace unprecedented prosperity is not selfish. It's a gift to your entire lineage. You are the one your ancestors hoped would come, the one who would finally break the cycles of financial struggle and establish new traditions of abundance and generosity. The scarcity patterns that have run in your family for generations end with you. The abundance patterns that will bless your family for generations to come begin with you. You are both the conclusion of an old story and the beginning of a new one, a story in which prosperity, peace, and plenty are the inheritance you leave for those who will follow in your footsteps. Chapter 6. The Quantum Power of Clear Intention. Formulating desires so specific that the universe cannot ignore them. In the vast field of infinite possibilities that quantum physics tells us underlies all of reality, there exists every conceivable version of your life, including the one where you're already living in complete financial abundance. The version that becomes your actual experience depends entirely on one critical factor: the clarity and specificity of your intention. Vague desires create vague results, while laser-focused intentions become like magnets that pull specific realities out of the quantum field and into your physical experience. Most people approach manifestation like they're placing an order at a restaurant where the menu is written in a foreign language. They point randomly at items, hoping for the best, and then wonder why what arrives doesn't match what they actually wanted. But when you understand how to communicate with the creative intelligence of the universe in its native language, the language of precise intention combined with elevated emotion, you discover that you can literally order exactly what you want from the infinite menu of possibilities. The universe doesn't respond to desperation, pleading, or wishful thinking. It responds to clarity, certainty, and the kind of specific intention that can only come from someone who has taken the time to truly know what they want and why they want it. When your intention is clear enough, focused enough, and emotionally charged enough, the universe begins to reorganize itself around that intention with a precision that will astound you. The architecture of intention. True intention is far more sophisticated than simply wanting something. It's a complex structure that includes specific outcomes, clear timelines, emotional frequencies, and aligned action. When all these elements are coherently combined, they create what we might call an intention vortex, a powerful energetic pattern that literally pulls your desired reality toward you while simultaneously pulling you toward it. The first element of powerful intention is absolute specificity. Instead of wanting more money, you need to know exactly how much money you want, by when, and for what purpose. Instead of desiring financial freedom, you need to define precisely what financial freedom looks like in your daily life, where you'll live, how you'll spend your time, what choices you'll have available to you. Dr. Lynn McTaggart's research into the power of intention revealed that the most successful manifestations occur when people can describe their desired outcome with such precision that another person could recognize it if they saw it. This level of specificity serves two crucial functions. It gives your subconscious mind a clear target to focus on, and it eliminates the confusion that occurs when you're sending mixed signals to the quantum field. Consider James's transformation. For years, James had been affirming that he wanted to be wealthy and successful. Despite his consistent visualization practice, his financial situation remained frustratingly stagnant. The breakthrough came when he finally got specific about what wealth meant to him. Earning $500,000 annually through his financial consulting practice, working with exactly 50 high-net-worth clients, taking 4 international vacations per year with his family, and having $2 million in investment assets by age 45. Within 6 months of clarifying his intention with this level of precision, James began attracting exactly the type of clients he had specified. His income increased dramatically, and every aspect of his business began aligning with the specific vision he had created. The universe hadn't been ignoring his previous intentions. It simply hadn't known exactly what he wanted, because he hadn't known exactly what he wanted. The emotional blueprint specificity alone, however, is not enough to create powerful intention. Your clearly defined goals must be infused with the emotional frequency that matches your desired outcome. This emotional component serves as the energetic fuel that powers your intention through the quantum field and into physical manifestation. Most people make the mistake of trying to manifest from emotions of lack, need, or desperation. They focus on wanting more money because they're afraid of not having enough, or they desire success because they feel inadequate in their current situation. But these emotions of lack actually contradict the intention for abundance, creating internal conflict that blocks manifestation. Powerful intention requires what we call emotional coherence, the ability to generate the feelings you'll experience when your intention has already manifested. If your intention is to earn $100,000 this year, you need to access the emotions of security, confidence, and gratitude that you'll feel when that income is flowing into your life. If your goal is to build a successful business, you need to embody the excitement, pride, and fulfillment that come with serving clients and creating value in the world. This isn't positive thinking or emotional manipulation. It's energetic alignment. When your emotions match your intention, you're broadcasting a coherent signal into the quantum field. When your emotions contradict your intention, you're sending mixed messages that cancel each other out. The time collapse phenomenon. One of the most remarkable aspects of clear intention is its ability to collapse time between desire and fulfillment. When your intention is specific enough and emotionally coherent enough, you can actually experience what we call quantum leaps, rapid manifestations that seem to bypass the normal cause and effect timelines that most people experience. This time collapse happens because clear intention allows you to tune into timelines where your desired outcome already exists. In quantum physics, all possibilities exist simultaneously in what's called the eternal now. When you can maintain clear focus on a specific outcome while feeling the emotions of already having achieved it, you're literally selecting which timeline you experience as your reality. Maria experienced this phenomenon when she set a clear intention to double her therapy practice income within 6 months. Instead of gradually building her client base over time, she maintained such focused intention and emotional alignment that she attracted a corporate wellness contract that immediately doubled her income. From the outside, it looked like incredible luck. From the inside, it felt like the natural result of absolutely clear intention. The Precision Protocol. Creating truly effective intentions requires following what we call the Precision Protocol, a systematic approach to clarifying exactly what you want, why you want it, when you want it, and how it will feel to have it. This protocol ensures that your intentions are specific enough to manifest and aligned enough to manifest quickly. The first step is quantification. Every aspect of your intention should be measurable and observable. Instead of financial abundance, specify earning $150,000 this year through my coaching business. Instead of a beautiful home, describe a 3,000 square foot house with a home office, garden, and mountain view purchased by December 31st. The second step is temporalization, setting clear timelines that are ambitious enough to inspire you but realistic enough to maintain believability. Your subconscious mind needs to believe that your intention is possible within the time frame you've specified. If the timeline feels impossible, your nervous system will reject the intention rather than working to manifest it. The third step is emotionalization, identifying and cultivating the specific emotions you'll experience when your intention manifests. This isn't about generating positive feelings. It's about accessing the authentic emotions of achievement, gratitude, and fulfillment that naturally arise when desires are fulfilled. The fourth step is visualization, creating detailed mental movies of your intention as if it has already happened. These visualizations should engage all your senses and feel as real as actual memories. The more vividly you can experience your intention in your mind, the more rapidly it will manifest in your physical reality. The alignment factor. Even the most precisely crafted intention will fail to manifest if it's not aligned with your authentic values, natural talents, and life purpose. The universe seems to have an internal guidance system that supports intentions that serve not only your individual good, but also contribute to the greater good of all. This is why intentions focused solely on personal gain often struggle to manifest, while intentions that include service to others tend to manifest more easily and sustainably. When your financial goals are connected to how you'll use your abundance to help others, create value, or solve problems, they carry an energetic momentum that purely selfish goals lack. The alignment factor also includes honesty about your current capacity and willingness to receive what you're requesting. If you're asking for million-dollar success, but haven't developed the skills, mindset, or systems to handle that level of responsibility, your subconscious will sabotage your manifestation to protect you from overwhelm. True alignment means ensuring that your intentions represent genuine growth, rather than magical escape from the work of becoming the person who can naturally attract and maintain what you desire. The release paradox. One of the most counterintuitive aspects of effective intention is the necessity of release, letting go of attachment to specific outcomes while maintaining clear focus on desired results. This paradox confuses many people, but it's actually the key to allowing universal intelligence to deliver your intentions in ways that exceed your limited imagination. Attachment creates tension and resistance in the quantum field. When you're desperately attached to your intention manifesting in a specific way by a specific time, you're actually pushing it away through the energy of need and control. But when you can hold clear intention while remaining open to how the universe will deliver it, you create space for unexpected opportunities and synchronicities. This release doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your goals. It means maintaining active intention while surrendering control over the process. You're clear about what you want and committed to taking inspired action, but you're flexible about how it arrives in your life. The acceleration secret. The most advanced practitioners of intention setting have discovered what we call the acceleration secret, the ability to collapse multiple intentions into a single, powerful vision that creates exponential rather than linear results. Instead of setting separate intentions for income, relationships, health, and lifestyle, they create one overarching intention that encompasses their entire desired reality. This holistic approach works because life is interconnected. Your financial success affects your relationships, your health influences your productivity, and your lifestyle choices impact your income potential. When you can see the connections between all areas of your life and set intentions that honor these relationships, you create what systems theorists call emergent properties, outcomes that are greater than the sum of their individual parts. The maintenance protocol setting. Clear intention is only the beginning of the manifestation process. Maintaining that intention with consistent focus and emotional alignment requires what we call the maintenance protocol, daily practices that keep your intention alive and active in your consciousness. This includes regular visualization sessions where you vividly experience your intended reality as if it's already manifest. It involves daily emotional alignment practices where you generate the feelings of having already achieved your goals, and it requires consistent action steps that demonstrate your commitment to your intentions and create opportunities for them to manifest. The maintenance protocol also includes what we call evidence collection, actively noticing and celebrating every sign that your intention is manifesting. This might include unexpected opportunities, synchronistic meetings, or gradual improvements in your circumstances. By acknowledging these early signs, you strengthen the manifestation momentum and accelerate the full realization of your intention. The quantum conversation. When you understand the true power of clear intention, you realize that you're not trying to force the universe to give you what you want. You're having a conversation with the creative intelligence that underlies all existence. This intelligence wants to support your highest good and greatest joy, but it needs clear communication about what that looks like in your specific life. Your intentions are like prayers in the language that universal intelligence understands best. Specific requests combined with elevated emotions and aligned action. When you learn to speak this language fluently, you discover that the universe is not only willing to support your prosperity, it's been waiting for you to become clear enough about what you want to receive, the abundant support that's always available. The quantum field is not a cosmic vending machine that responds to wishful thinking. It's an intelligent system that responds to coherent intention with precise delivery. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with crystal clear intention, you become a powerful co-creator with the very forces that organize reality itself. Your desires are not random wants. They're the universe's way of calling you toward your highest potential. When you learn to translate those desires into clear, specific, emotionally aligned intentions, you give the universe permission to rearrange itself around your greatest good. The abundance you seek isn't something you have to convince the universe to give you. It's something you have to become clear enough to receive. Chapter 7. Synchronicities and Universal Signs. Recognizing and following the clues that the quantum field offers to guide you toward abundance. There is an ancient intelligence at work in the universe, a vast, interconnected web of consciousness that is constantly orchestrating events, encounters, and opportunities to support your highest good and greatest prosperity. This intelligence doesn't communicate through words or logical explanations. Instead, it speaks through the language of synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, and what Carl Jung called the acausal connecting principle. Events that are related not by cause and effect, but by meaning and significance. When you begin to align your consciousness with abundance and set clear intentions for prosperity, something remarkable happens. The universe begins to respond with an intricate dance of synchronicities designed to guide you toward the fulfillment of your desires. A chance encounter with exactly the right person. A book that falls open to precisely the page you needed to read. An unexpected phone call that leads to the perfect opportunity. These are not accidents or coincidences. They are the universe's way of showing you the path to your intended abundance. Most people live their entire lives unconscious of this constant flow of guidance, dismissing synchronicities as mere coincidence or luck. But when you learn to recognize the signs that the quantum field is offering and develop the courage to follow them, you discover that creating prosperity becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about dancing with the intelligent forces that are already working to support your success. The key is developing what we might call synchronicity literacy, the ability to read the signs that universal intelligence is constantly providing and the wisdom to act on the guidance you receive. This is not superstition or magical thinking. It's a sophisticated understanding of how consciousness interfaces with the field of infinite possibilities to create specific outcomes in physical reality. The science of meaningful coincidence. Modern physics has begun to validate what mystics have always known. Everything in the universe is interconnected through what quantum physicists call the field of infinite possibility, or the zero-point field. This field contains all information, all potential outcomes, and all possible connections between events, people, and circumstances. When you set a clear intention and align your energy with a specific outcome, you create what Dr. Deepak Chopra calls an attractor pattern in this field. This pattern acts like a magnet, drawing toward you the people, resources, and opportunities that can support the manifestation of your intention. The synchronicities you experience are actually the visible manifestations of these invisible quantum connections organizing themselves around your desired outcome. Dr. Dean Radin's research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has documented that people in coherent emotional states of gratitude, love, and appreciation, actually influence random number generators and other quantum-sensitive devices in statistically significant ways. This suggests that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it actively participates in creating it through mechanisms we're only beginning to understand scientifically. When you're aligned with abundance consciousness and maintaining clear intention, you're literally influencing the probability patterns in the quantum field. Events that would normally be highly unlikely become more probable. People who could help you achieve your goals are more likely to cross your path. Opportunities that match your intentions are more likely to present themselves at precisely the right moment. The anatomy of divine timing. One of the most profound aspects of synchronicity is how it operates according to what we call divine timing, a mysterious intelligence that orchestrates events to occur at exactly the right moment for maximum impact and benefit. This timing often defies logical explanation and can seem almost supernatural in its precision. Consider Rachel's story. Rachel had been struggling to launch her online wellness coaching business for over 2 years. Despite having excellent credentials and a clear vision, she couldn't seem to gain traction or attract clients. She was beginning to doubt whether her business idea was viable when she decided to attend a local networking event. She had almost skipped due to exhaustion. At the event, Rachel found herself standing in line behind a woman who was having an animated conversation on her phone about her company's need for a wellness consultant for their employee program. When the woman finished her call, Rachel introduced herself, and within a week, she had signed her first major corporate contract, one that provided exactly the foundation her business needed to thrive. The timing was so perfect that it seemed almost orchestrated. The woman had been searching for a wellness consultant for months. Rachel almost didn't attend the event. They happened to be standing in the exact same place at the exact same moment when the conversation occurred. From a logical perspective, the coincidence was extraordinary. From a synchronicity perspective, it was the universe providing exactly what Rachel needed at exactly the right time. The language of signs. The universe communicates through a sophisticated language of signs and symbols that speak directly to your intuitive awareness rather than your logical mind. These signs often appear as repeating numbers, unexpected animal encounters, meaningful songs playing at significant moments, or books and articles that contain exactly the information you need appearing at precisely the right time. The key to understanding this language is recognizing that the meaning of any sign is deeply personal and contextual. A butterfly might be a sign of transformation for one person and a reminder of a deceased loved one for another. The number 1111 might represent portal energy for someone working with spiritual concepts, while for someone else, it might simply be a reminder to make a wish or pay attention to their thoughts. Learning to read the universe's signs requires developing a different kind of intelligence, what we might call symbolic literacy. This involves paying attention to patterns, noticing what captures your attention repeatedly, and being willing to consider that seemingly random events might carry deeper meaning related to your intentions and life path. Marcus began noticing that every time he was considering a major business decision, he would encounter eagles. When he was debating whether to expand his consulting practice, he saw eagles 3 times in 1 week, once soaring outside his office window, once in a powerful documentary that came on while he was channel surfing, and once in a logo on a passing truck, just as he was walking into a meeting with a potential business partner. He learned to interpret eagle sightings as confirmations that he was moving in alignment with his highest vision and should trust his instincts to soar to new heights. The messenger phenomenon. One of the most common ways the universe provides guidance is through what we call human messengers. People who appear in your life at exactly the right moment with exactly the information, opportunity, or perspective you need. These messengers often show up disguised as casual encounters, chance meetings, or conversations that seem unrelated to your intentions but contain precisely the guidance you've been seeking. The messenger phenomenon works because consciousness is collective rather than merely individual. When you set clear intentions and maintain elevated emotional states, you're not just affecting your own awareness. You're influencing the collective field in ways that attract people who can support your goals, often without them consciously knowing they're serving as messengers. Sometimes these messengers deliver practical information, telling you about a job opening, introducing you to someone who can help with your business, or sharing knowledge that solves a problem you've been struggling with. Other times, they provide emotional or spiritual guidance, offering encouragement when you're feeling discouraged, sharing wisdom that shifts your perspective, or simply reflecting back to you the confidence and capability you've been doubting. Dr. Elizabeth's breakthrough came through such a messenger. She had been trying to decide whether to leave her secure hospital position to start her own integrative medicine practice. The decision felt overwhelming, and she had been asking the universe for clear guidance. While waiting for her coffee one morning, she overheard a woman at the next table telling her friend about leaving her corporate job to follow her passion for organic farming. The woman said, "I realized that the only real security comes from trusting yourself to create value in the world, doing what you love." That overheard conversation provided exactly the perspective Elizabeth needed. Within a month, she had given notice at the hospital and begun planning her practice. The woman in the coffee shop had no idea she was serving as a messenger, but her words arrived at precisely the moment Elizabeth needed to hear them: resistance and redirection. Not all synchronicities are comfortable or obviously positive. Sometimes the universe provides guidance through what we call resistance signs, obstacles, delays, or challenges that appear when you're moving in a direction that doesn't serve your highest good. Learning to recognize and interpret resistance signs can save you enormous amounts of time and energy by redirecting you toward paths that flow more easily. Resistance signs might include repeated delays, unexpected obstacles, a series of people saying no to your requests, or a general feeling that you're swimming upstream despite your best efforts. While these experiences can be frustrating, they often indicate that there's a better path available if you're willing to pause, reassess, and remain open to alternative approaches. The key is distinguishing between resistance that indicates you're on the wrong path and resistance that indicates you're breaking through old patterns or comfort zones. Wrong path resistance feels heavy, forced, and increasingly difficult. Breakthrough resistance feels challenging but exciting, with underlying momentum and support even when the surface experience is demanding. Jennifer experienced this distinction clearly when she was trying to expand her catering business. Her first approach involved taking out a large loan to open a restaurant. Every step of this process encountered obstacles. Loan applications were delayed, potential locations fell through, and partners backed out unexpectedly. Instead of pushing harder, Jennifer took these as signs to reconsider her approach. When she shifted to expanding through corporate catering contracts instead of opening a restaurant, everything began to flow smoothly. Opportunities appeared, referrals came easily, and clients said yes to her proposals. The universe wasn't blocking her expansion. It was redirecting her toward a path that would be more successful and sustainable. The amplification effect. As you become more skilled at recognizing and following synchronicities, something remarkable happens. The universe begins to provide guidance with increasing frequency and clarity. This amplification effect occurs because you're demonstrating your willingness to listen and act on the guidance you receive, which creates a feedback loop that encourages more communication. This is similar to how relationships deepen when people demonstrate that they're trustworthy recipients of important information. The universe begins to offer more sophisticated guidance as you prove that you'll honor and act on the signs you receive. What might start as occasional meaningful coincidences can evolve into a constant flow of guidance that makes navigating your prosperity journey feel like being guided by an invisible intelligence that knows exactly where you're going. The amplification effect also occurs because regularly following synchronicities trains your intuitive awareness to become more sensitive to subtle guidance. You begin to notice patterns and meanings that would have been invisible when you were operating purely from logical thinking. Your consciousness expands to include non-linear ways of receiving information and making decisions. The trust factor. Perhaps the most challenging aspect of working with synchronicity is developing the trust to act on guidance that doesn't always make logical sense in the moment. Synchronistic guidance often requires taking action before you can see the full picture, trusting that the path will become clear as you move forward. This trust is not blind faith. It's informed intuition based on your growing experience of how universal intelligence operates. As you follow synchronistic guidance and witness the positive outcomes, you develop confidence in your ability to distinguish between genuine guidance and wishful thinking or fear-based projection. Building trust with synchronicity is like developing any relationship. It requires time, attention, and the willingness to remain open even when the guidance challenges your preconceptions or comfort zone. The more you honor the signs you receive, the more reliable and clear the guidance becomes. The portfolio approach. Advanced practitioners of synchronicity awareness often develop what we call a portfolio approach to guidance, gathering information from multiple synchronistic sources before making important decisions. Instead of acting on a single sign, they look for patterns and confirmations across different types of guidance. This might include noticing what thoughts arise during meditation, paying attention to which opportunities feel energizing versus draining, observing what advice they receive from trusted mentors, and watching for meaningful coincidences that point in a particular direction. When multiple forms of guidance align, they can move forward with greater confidence that they're following their optimal path. The portfolio approach prevents the common mistake of overinterpreting single events while still maintaining openness to synchronistic guidance. It provides a balanced framework for integrating intuitive and logical decision-making processes. Practical synchronicity skills. Developing synchronicity literacy requires cultivating specific skills and awareness practices. The first skill is learning to distinguish between projection and genuine guidance. When you desperately want something to be a sign, you might interpret neutral events as meaningful guidance. True synchronicity has a quality of surprise and rightness that feels different from wishful interpretation. The second skill is maintaining what we call relaxed alertness. Being open to guidance without frantically searching for signs everywhere. Synchronicity flows most easily when you're in a state of trust and receptivity rather than anxiety and forcing. The third skill is developing rapid response capability, the ability to act quickly when genuine guidance appears. Synchronistic opportunities often have a short window of availability, and hesitation can cause you to miss the timing that makes the guidance effective. The fourth skill is learning to follow guidance even when you can't see where it's leading. Some of the most powerful synchronicities require you to take a step without knowing what the next step will be, trusting that the path will illuminate itself as you move forward. The gratitude multiplier. One of the most effective ways to increase the flow of synchronistic guidance is through consistent appreciation for the signs you've already received. When you acknowledge and express gratitude for the way the universe has guided you in the past, you strengthen your relationship with the intelligence that provides that guidance. This gratitude practice serves multiple functions. It trains your awareness to notice guidance more readily. It reinforces your trust in the process, and it creates an energetic invitation for more guidance to flow. People who regularly appreciate synchronicities tend to experience them more frequently and with greater clarity. Integration with intention. Synchronicity and clear intention work together as complementary aspects of conscious creation. Your intentions provide direction and focus for your manifestation efforts, while synchronicities provide the specific guidance about timing, methods, and opportunities for bringing those intentions into reality. When intention and synchronicity are working together harmoniously, creating prosperity feels less like work and more like play. You know where you're going through clear intention, and you trust that you'll be shown the way through synchronistic guidance. This combination creates a state of inspired action, where effort feels effortless and challenges become adventures. The cosmic conversation. Ultimately, learning to work with synchronicity transforms your entire relationship with creating abundance. Instead of feeling like you're working alone to force outcomes, you begin to experience life as a collaborative conversation with an intelligent universe that wants to support your prosperity and joy. This conversation happens through the signs and synchronicities that appear in your daily experience, but it also includes the guidance you receive through meditation, the insights that arise during moments of inspiration, and the intuitive knowing that emerges when you're aligned with your highest purpose. When you're fluent in the language of synchronicity, navigating your prosperity journey becomes an adventure guided by an intelligence far greater than your individual mind. You learn to trust that the universe not only wants to support your abundance, it's constantly providing you with exactly the information and opportunities you need to create the prosperous life you're meant to live. The signs are always there, waiting for you to notice them. The guidance is always flowing, ready for you to receive it. The universe is always speaking, hoping you'll learn to listen. Your abundance is not just possible. It's inevitable when you align with the synchronistic intelligence that's orchestrating the perfect conditions for your prosperity to unfold. Your role is not to make everything happen through force and control. Your role is to set clear intentions, maintain elevated emotional states, and remain open to the miraculous ways the universe will guide you toward the abundant life that's already waiting for you in the field of infinite possibilities. Chapter 8. Becoming a magnet for opportunities. Cultivating the energy and presence that make people and resources naturally gravitate toward you. There's something unmistakably different about people who consistently attract opportunities, resources, and supportive relationships into their lives. When they walk into a room, conversations flow toward them. When they need help, assistance appears. When they're ready for the next level of success, the right doors seem to open at exactly the right time. This isn't luck, charm, or privilege. It's the result of cultivating what we call magnetic presence, an energetic quality that makes you irresistibly attractive to the people and circumstances that can support your prosperity. Magnetic presence is not about manipulation, persuasion, or trying to convince others to help you. It's about becoming the kind of person that others naturally want to support, collaborate with, and create success alongside. When you develop authentic magnetic presence, opportunities don't just come to you. They seek you out. People don't just meet you. They remember you. Resources don't just become available. They flow toward you with an ease that surprises even you. The science behind magnetic presence reveals that humans are constantly picking up subtle energy signals from each other through what researchers call emotional contagion and mirror neuron activity. When you're genuinely excited about your vision, confident in your abilities, and grateful for your current circumstances. You broadcast those elevated emotions in ways that make others feel inspired and optimistic when they're around you. This creates what we might call a gravitational field of possibility that naturally attracts supportive people and circumstances into your orbit. But magnetic presence goes deeper than just positive energy. It's about embodying specific qualities: authenticity, value creation, generous leadership, and visionary thinking that signal to the universe and to other people that you're someone worth investing in, partnering with, and supporting. When you develop these qualities genuinely, from the inside out, you become a magnet for the very opportunities and relationships that can accelerate your journey to financial abundance. The authenticity advantage. The foundation of magnetic presence is absolute authenticity, the courage to show up as exactly who you are, rather than who you think others want you to be. This might seem counterintuitive in a world that often rewards conformity and people-pleasing, but authentic people possess a rare quality that makes them unforgettable and trustworthy in a sea of superficial interactions. When you're authentic, people sense that they're interacting with someone real, rather than a carefully constructed persona. This creates immediate rapport and trust, because authenticity is so rare that people are naturally drawn to it. Authentic individuals don't waste energy maintaining false images, which means they have more genuine energy available for creating value and building meaningful relationships. Consider David's transformation. For years, David had been trying to build his financial planning practice by presenting himself as the conservative, traditional advisor he thought clients wanted. He downplayed his interest in holistic health and sustainable investing, focusing only on conventional financial strategies. Despite his qualifications and hard work, his practice remained small, and his client relationships felt superficial. The breakthrough came when David decided to integrate his passion for sustainable living into his financial services. He began offering conscious wealth-building sessions that included discussions about values-based investing, environmental impact, and how financial decisions affect overall life satisfaction. Instead of alienating clients, this authentic approach attracted exactly the type of people who became his most loyal and enthusiastic advocates. His practice tripled in size within 18 months because he was finally attracting people who resonated with his authentic mission. Authenticity is magnetic because it's scarce. In a world where most people are trying to be what they think others want them to be, someone who is genuinely themselves stands out immediately. This doesn't mean being inappropriate or oversharing personal information. It means allowing your genuine interests, values, and perspective to inform how you show up professionally and personally. The energy of value creation. Magnetic people share a common characteristic. They're always thinking about how they can create value for others, rather than what they can get from others. This value creation mindset creates an energetic signature that makes people want to be around you because they know that interactions with you will somehow enhance their lives. Value creation doesn't necessarily mean giving away free services or sacrificing your own needs. It means approaching every interaction with the question, how can I make this person's day better, their problem easier to solve, or their goals more achievable? Sometimes the value you create is practical, sharing useful information, making helpful introductions, or offering specific assistance. Sometimes it's emotional, providing encouragement, recognition, or simply being fully present during conversations. The key is that value creation must be genuine rather than strategic. When you create value because you authentically care about helping others succeed, it feels completely different than when you help others because you're hoping to get something in return. People intuitively sense the difference, and they're only truly attracted to genuine generosity rather than calculated networking. Maria discovered this principle when she shifted her approach to business networking. Instead of attending events with the goal of finding clients for her marketing consultancy, she began attending with the goal of learning about other people's businesses and seeing how she could support their success. She would listen carefully to challenges people were facing and offer specific suggestions, connections, or resources that could help, regardless of whether there was any immediate benefit to her. This shift in focus transformed Maria's networking experience completely. Instead of having superficial conversations about what she did, she found herself having deep discussions about strategy, goals, and vision with other business owners. Many of these conversations led to collaborative opportunities, referrals, and partnerships that she never could have anticipated. By focusing on creating value rather than extracting value, she became someone that others actively sought out and recommended. The charisma of genuine interest. One of the most powerful components of magnetic presence is the ability to be genuinely interested in other people, their stories, their challenges, their dreams, and their perspectives. This quality is so rare in our self-focused culture that people who possess it immediately stand out as remarkable and memorable. Genuine interest goes far beyond polite conversation or networking small talk. It's about approaching other people with authentic curiosity about what makes them unique, what they're passionate about, and what they're working to create in their lives. When you're genuinely interested in others, they feel seen, valued, and appreciated in a way that creates lasting positive impressions. This interest must be authentic rather than performed. People can immediately sense the difference between someone who is asking questions because they're supposed to, and someone who is asking questions because they're genuinely curious about the answers. Authentic interest creates what psychologists call positive regard, a feeling of being valued and respected that makes people naturally want to maintain connection with you. The neuroscience behind this phenomenon reveals that when people feel genuinely seen and heard, their brains release oxytocin and dopamine, chemicals associated with bonding, trust, and positive emotions. This means that when you're authentically interested in others, you're literally creating positive biochemical experiences that make people associate you with good feelings. The confidence factor, magnetic presence, requires a specific type of confidence that's quite different from arrogance or bravado. This confidence comes not from thinking you're better than others, but from knowing your own value and being comfortable with your unique gifts and capabilities. It's quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove itself through comparison or competition. This inner confidence creates what we call relaxed authority, the ability to be fully present and self-assured without being intimidating or dominating. People are naturally drawn to individuals who are confident without being threatening, successful without being arrogant, and knowledgeable without being condescending. Building genuine confidence requires honest self-assessment and self-acceptance. You need to know what you're genuinely good at, what value you can authentically provide, and what makes you uniquely qualified to help others achieve their goals. This isn't about inflating your ego or pretending to be something you're not. It's about recognizing and owning your legitimate strengths and capabilities. The confidence that creates magnetic presence also includes being comfortable with what you don't know and being willing to say, "I don't know," when that's the truth. Paradoxically, people who can admit their limitations while being confident about their strengths often appear more trustworthy and approachable than people who try to appear knowledgeable about everything. The vision. Multiplier effect. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of magnetic presence is the ability to carry and communicate a compelling vision of possibility that inspires others to want to be part of creating that future. When you have a clear, exciting vision of what you're working to create, whether it's a business, a project, or a lifestyle, and you can share that vision in ways that help others see themselves benefiting from its success, you become irresistibly attractive to potential collaborators, supporters, and partners. Vision is magnetic because most people are so focused on problems, limitations, and what's wrong with current circumstances that they're starved for inspiring possibilities. When you can paint a picture of a better future and help others see how they fit into that picture, you're offering something that's both rare and valuable. The key is ensuring that your vision is inclusive rather than self-centered. Magnetic visions show how everyone involved will benefit from the success of the endeavor. They demonstrate how achieving your goals will create value, solve problems, or enhance life for others as well as yourself. When people can see how your success will contribute to their success, they naturally want to support your efforts. The generosity gateway. True magnetic presence is built on a foundation of authentic generosity, not just with money or resources, but with attention, appreciation, opportunities, and recognition. Generous people are magnetic because they make others feel abundant rather than scarce when they're around them. This generosity must be sustainable and authentic, rather than depleting or manipulative. It's not about giving away everything you have or saying yes to every request. It's about approaching relationships and interactions from a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, looking for ways to share rather than hoard, and celebrating others' successes rather than feeling threatened by them. Generous people understand that success is not a zero-sum game. They recognize that helping others succeed often creates opportunities for their own advancement, and they're comfortable with the idea that rising tide lifts all boats. This abundance mindset is energetically attractive because it signals that you're operating from plenty rather than lack. The presence. Practice. Developing magnetic presence requires cultivating the ability to be fully present in your interactions with others. In our distracted, multitasking culture, the gift of complete attention has become extraordinarily rare and valuable. When you can be totally present with someone, listening without planning your response, engaging without checking your phone, caring without calculating benefit, you create an experience that people find both unusual and memorable. Presence is magnetic because it makes people feel important and valued. When someone gives you their complete attention, you feel like you matter. This feeling is so rare in modern life that people are naturally drawn to individuals who can provide it consistently. Building presence requires practices that help you develop your capacity for sustained attention and emotional regulation. This might include meditation, mindfulness training, or simply the discipline of putting away distractions during conversations and meetings. The goal is developing the ability to be where you are, when you are there, with whomever you're with. The emotional contagion phenomenon research in neuroscience has revealed that emotions are literally contagious through mechanisms like mirror neurons and electromagnetic field interactions. This means that the emotional state you maintain doesn't just affect your own experience. It influences the emotional states of everyone around you. When you consistently maintain elevated emotional states, gratitude, excitement, confidence, appreciation, you're literally broadcasting those feelings to others through subtle energy signals. People may not consciously recognize what's happening, but they'll notice that they feel better when they're around you. This positive emotional contagion makes you magnetically attractive because people unconsciously associate you with good feelings. The reverse is also true. If you're consistently anxious, complainant, or negative, you'll broadcast those emotions as well, making people unconsciously want to avoid or limit their time with you. This is why emotional mastery is such a crucial component of magnetic presence. You're not just managing your own experience. You're influencing the experience of everyone in your environment. The Trust Accelerator. Perhaps the most valuable quality you can develop for creating magnetic presence is the ability to build trust quickly and authentically. Trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, business partnerships, and collaborative opportunities. When people trust you, they're willing to share information, resources, and opportunities that they would never share with someone they're uncertain about. Building trust quickly requires consistency between what you say and what you do, reliability in following through on commitments, and transparency about your intentions and capabilities. It also requires what we call emotional reliability. Being the same person in private as you are in public, maintaining your values under pressure, and treating people with the same respect, regardless of what they can do for you. Trust is magnetic because it's so rare in business and personal relationships. When people know they can count on you to be honest, reliable, and consistent, they naturally want to deepen their connection with you and look for ways to collaborate or support your efforts. The abundance broadcast. When you've integrated all of these qualities, authenticity, value creation, genuine interest, quiet confidence, compelling vision, sustainable generosity, complete presence, positive emotional contagion, and rapid trust building, you begin to broadcast what we call an abundance signal. This signal communicates to everyone around you that you're someone who operates from plenty rather than scarcity, possibility rather than limitation, and collaboration rather than competition. This abundance signal is irresistibly attractive because most people are unconsciously desperate for evidence that abundance is real and achievable. When they encounter someone who embodies prosperity consciousness, they want to understand how that person thinks, learn from their approach, and find ways to be part of their success story. The abundance signal also attracts opportunities because it indicates to the universe that you're ready to receive and steward greater resources responsibly. When you embody abundance consciousness, you demonstrate that you can handle success without becoming arrogant, wealth without becoming selfish, and power without becoming corrupt. Integration and embodiment. Becoming a magnet for opportunities is not about adopting new behaviors or techniques. It's about becoming a new version of yourself who naturally embodies these magnetic qualities. This transformation happens through consistent practice, honest self-reflection, and the willingness to stretch beyond your current comfort zone in service of your highest potential. The most magnetic people are those who have integrated these qualities so thoroughly that they don't have to think about being magnetic. They simply are. Their authenticity, generosity, presence, and vision have become natural expressions of who they are, rather than strategies they employ to achieve specific outcomes. As you develop these qualities within yourself, you'll notice that opportunities begin appearing in your life with increasing frequency and quality. People will start seeking you out for collaboration, mentorship, and partnership. Resources will flow toward you more easily. Doors will open that you didn't even know existed. This is not about manipulation or using people to achieve your goals. It's about becoming the kind of person that the universe naturally wants to support and that other people instinctively want to help succeed. When you embody authentic magnetic presence, creating abundance becomes a collaborative effort supported by the very people and circumstances that can make your prosperity inevitable. Your magnetic presence is not something you have to create from nothing. It's something you have to uncover by releasing the fears, limitations, and false personas that have been covering your natural attractiveness. Underneath all the conditioning and programming lies a being who is naturally magnetic, genuinely valuable, and inherently worthy of all the support and opportunities the universe has to offer. Chapter 9. Prosperity as a State of Being. Transcending the mentality of having to embody the essence of abundance in every cell of your body. There exists a profound difference between having money and being prosperous, a distinction that separates those who experience temporary financial success from those who embody sustainable abundance as a fundamental aspect of their identity. Having money is about accumulating external resources. Being prosperous is about becoming the kind of person who naturally generates, attracts, and stewards wealth as an expression of their core essence. When you truly understand this distinction, everything about your relationship with money transforms. You stop chasing abundance as something outside yourself that you need to acquire, and you begin expressing abundance as something that already exists within you, that needs only to be revealed. This shift from seeking prosperity to embodying prosperity is perhaps the most important transition you can make on your journey toward lasting financial freedom. The wealthy individuals who maintain their abundance over decades, who seem to effortlessly regenerate resources even after setbacks, and who approach money with a kind of relaxed confidence that others find magnetic. These people have learned to embody prosperity consciousness rather than simply pursuing prosperous outcomes. They have integrated abundance so completely into their identity that wealthy thinking, abundant feeling, and prosperous action have become as natural to them as breathing. This embodiment is not about pretending to feel abundant when you don't, or trying to convince yourself that you're wealthy when your bank account suggests otherwise. It's about recognizing that prosperity is fundamentally a state of consciousness, a way of thinking, feeling, and being that exists independently of your current circumstances and actually creates those circumstances through its expression. The identity revolution, the most profound transformation in consciousness, happens when you shift from seeing yourself as someone who wants to become prosperous to someone who already is prosperous and is simply allowing that prosperity to manifest in physical form. This identity shift seems subtle, but it changes everything about how you think, feel, and act in relationship to money and opportunity. When your identity includes prosperity as a fundamental aspect of who you are, you naturally think thoughts that align with abundance. You automatically feel emotions that resonate with wealth. You spontaneously take actions that generate value and attract resources. This isn't forced or artificial. It's the natural expression of someone whose core identity has integrated prosperity consciousness. Consider the transformation of Catherine, a talented graphic designer who had been struggling financially for years despite her obvious skills and creativity. Catherine's identity was built around the story that she was an artist who isn't good with money, and that focusing on financial success would somehow compromise her creative integrity. This identity created a constant internal conflict between her desire for prosperity and her fear that prosperity would change her essence. The breakthrough came when Catherine realized that prosperity wasn't something that would be added to her identity. It was something that would allow her true identity to be more fully expressed. She began to see that financial abundance would give her the freedom to create more art, the resources to support other artists, and the platform to share her gifts with a larger audience. Prosperity wasn't threatening her identity as an artist. It was enabling her identity as an artist to flourish. As Catherine's identity evolved to include successful creative entrepreneur, her entire approach to her business changed. She began valuing her time appropriately, charging rates that reflected her skill level, and actively seeking clients who appreciated both her artistic abilities and her business professionalism. Within 8 months, her income had tripled, and she was turning down projects rather than desperately seeking them. The cellular integration. True prosperity consciousness goes deeper than thoughts and emotions. It becomes integrated into your very physiology. When you embody abundance at the cellular level, your posture changes, your breathing deepens, your voice carries more authority, and your overall presence communicates confidence and capability without any conscious effort on your part. This cellular integration happens through what neuroscientists call embodied cognition, the process by which mental and emotional states literally reshape your physical being. When you consistently think abundant thoughts and feel prosperous emotions, your nervous system begins to recognize abundance as your normal state rather than an exceptional condition. Dr. Amy Cuddy's research on power postures revealed that simply holding your body in confident positions for 2 minutes can increase testosterone levels by 20% and decrease cortisol levels by 25%. But the reverse is also true. When you consistently embody prosperity, consciousness, your physiology naturally shifts to support that inner state, creating a feedback loop that reinforces your abundant identity. This means that embodying prosperity isn't just about changing your thoughts. It's about allowing abundance consciousness to reorganize your entire being, from your cellular chemistry to your electromagnetic field. When prosperity is integrated at this level, it becomes unshakable because it's not dependent on external circumstances or mental affirmations. It's literally who you are at the most fundamental level. The overflow principle. One of the most profound aspects of embodying prosperity consciousness is understanding what we call the overflow principle. The recognition that true abundance always seeks to express itself through giving, sharing, and creating value for others. When you're genuinely prosperous in consciousness, you naturally become a source of abundance for everyone around you. This overflow isn't about giving away money you don't have, or depleting yourself through excessive generosity. It's about recognizing that prosperity consciousness is self-regenerating and actually expands when it's shared. The more you express abundance through your thoughts, words, and actions, the more abundance flows through your life. People who have truly embodied prosperity consciousness understand that wealth is not a finite resource to be hoarded, but an infinite creative force to be channeled. They find joy in helping others succeed, pleasure in creating opportunities for collaboration, and satisfaction in using their resources to solve problems and enhance life for themselves and others. This understanding transforms your entire approach to wealth creation. Instead of trying to extract value from the world, you focus on adding value to the world. Instead of competing for limited resources, you collaborate to create new resources. Instead of fearing that helping others succeed will diminish your own success, You recognize that lifting others creates rising tides that benefit everyone. The frequency of enough, perhaps the most liberating aspect of embodying prosperity consciousness, is discovering what we call the frequency of enough, a state of inner satisfaction and contentment that exists independently of how much you have or don't have. This frequency doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve or giving up on your financial goals. It means accessing a deep sense of inner abundance that makes you free to pursue greater external abundance from a place of joy rather than need. When you're operating from the frequency of enough, you make financial decisions from wisdom rather than fear. You pursue opportunities that align with your values rather than desperately grasping at anything that might provide security. You negotiate from strength rather than weakness because your sense of worth isn't dependent on the outcome of any particular transaction. This inner abundance also protects you from the anxiety and stress that plague people who are constantly worried about having enough money. When you know at the deepest level that you are enough, you naturally attract and create enough resources to support your highest good and greatest joy. The frequency of enough is not about limiting your desires or accepting mediocrity. It's about approaching abundance from a state of inner fullness rather than inner emptiness. When you're already complete within yourself, external abundance becomes an expression of your completeness rather than a compensation for your inadequacy. The gratitude transformation. At the heart of prosperity consciousness lies a profound appreciation for what already exists in your life. This gratitude is not just an emotional practice. It's a fundamental orientation toward reality that recognizes the abundance that's already present and creates the conditions for even greater abundance to emerge. True prosperity gratitude goes beyond appreciation for material possessions. It includes gratitude for your capabilities, your opportunities, your relationships, your health, your creativity, and your capacity to grow and contribute. When you can feel genuine appreciation for the wealth of resources already available to you, you shift into the energetic frequency that magnetizes even greater resources. This gratitude must be authentic rather than forced. You can't fake your way into prosperity consciousness by pretending to feel grateful when you're actually feeling anxious or resentful. But you can cultivate genuine appreciation by looking more deeply at what's already working in your life and recognizing the abundance that you may have been taking for granted. The transformation happens when gratitude becomes your default response to life, rather than something you have to remember to practice. When appreciation becomes as natural as breathing, you're living from prosperity consciousness rather than just visiting it occasionally during meditation or visualization sessions. The stewardship mindset. People who embody true prosperity consciousness understand that wealth is not something they own, but something they steward. This stewardship mindset fundamentally changes how you relate to money, resources, and opportunities. Instead of grasping and hoarding, you receive and circulate. Instead of controlling and manipulating, you guide and nurture. The stewardship mindset recognizes that you are a temporary guardian of whatever wealth flows through your life. Your role is not to possess resources permanently, but to use them wisely, invest them well, and direct them toward outcomes that serve the highest good of all involved. This perspective creates a sense of responsibility and purpose around wealth that makes prosperity feel meaningful rather than merely accumulative. When you approach money from a stewardship perspective, you naturally make decisions that support long-term abundance rather than short-term gain. You invest in relationships rather than just transactions. You build sustainable systems rather than exploiting temporary opportunities. You create value that lasts rather than extracting value that depletes. The service integration, perhaps the most mature expression of prosperity consciousness, is the integration of wealth creation with meaningful service to others. When prosperity and purpose align, money becomes a tool for expressing your highest values rather than an end in itself. This integration creates what we call sacred prosperity, abundance that serves the evolution of consciousness and the betterment of life for all beings. People who have integrated service with prosperity report a profound sense of fulfillment that goes far beyond the satisfaction of accumulating wealth. Their financial success feels meaningful because it enables them to make contributions that matter. Their work feels purposeful because it generates resources that can be used to solve problems and create positive change. This integration doesn't mean you have to become a non-profit organization or give away all your wealth. It means finding ways to align your natural talents and interests with opportunities to create value that serves both your prosperity and the greater good. When your financial success contributes to the well-being of others, it becomes sustainable and deeply satisfying. The presence of abundance. One of the most noticeable characteristics of people who embody prosperity consciousness is their presence, the quality of energy they bring into every environment and interaction. This presence communicates abundance without words, inspires confidence without effort, and attracts opportunities without manipulation. Abundant presence is characterized by relaxation rather than tension, openness rather than guardedness, and generosity rather than scarcity. People who carry this presence make others feel welcome, valued, and optimistic when they're around them. They create what we might call an abundance field that elevates everyone within their influence. This presence cannot be manufactured or performed. It can only be cultivated through genuine inner work that develops authentic prosperity consciousness. When abundance becomes your natural state, rather than a goal you're trying to achieve, it radiates from you effortlessly and influences everything you touch. The unshakable foundation. When prosperity consciousness is fully embodied, it creates an unshakable foundation that remains stable regardless of external circumstances. People with this foundation can experience temporary financial setbacks without losing their sense of abundance, because their prosperity is not dependent on their bank balance. They can navigate economic uncertainty with confidence, because their wealth is generated from the inside out rather than accumulated from the outside in. This doesn't mean that external circumstances don't matter, or that you should ignore practical financial planning. It means that your core sense of abundance doesn't fluctuate with market conditions, business cycles, or unexpected expenses. You understand that temporary external conditions cannot touch your fundamental capacity to create, attract, and regenerate wealth. The infinite game. People who embody prosperity consciousness understand that wealth creation is what game theorist James Carse called an infinite game, a game played for the purpose of continuing to play rather than for the purpose of ending with a win. In the infinite game of prosperity, the goal is not to accumulate a certain amount and then stop playing. The goal is to become increasingly skillful at generating, stewarding, and circulating abundance for the joy of the creative process itself. This perspective removes the pressure and anxiety that come from treating wealth creation as a finite game where you either win or lose. When prosperity is an infinite game, every experience becomes a learning opportunity. Every setback becomes valuable feedback, and every success becomes a platform for creating even greater value. The living expression, ultimately, embodying prosperity consciousness, means becoming a living expression of abundance in all its forms. Your thoughts reflect wealth consciousness. Your emotions resonate with gratitude and excitement. Your actions create value and opportunity, and your presence inspires abundance in others. You don't just have prosperity. You are prosperity in human form. This embodiment is not a destination you reach, but a continuous process of deeper integration and more authentic expression. As you grow in your capacity to embody abundance, you discover new levels of creativity, new forms of service, and new ways to contribute to the prosperity of all life. When you truly embody prosperity consciousness, you realize that abundance was never something you needed to acquire. It was always something you needed to remember, express, and share. The wealthy life you've been seeking has been waiting inside you all along, ready to be lived from the inside out. Your prosperity is not a future possibility. It's a present reality waiting to be embodied. Your abundance is not something you will someday have. It's something you can begin being right now. The moment you shift from seeking prosperity to embodying prosperity, your entire financial reality begins to reorganize itself around the truth of who you really are. An infinite being temporarily playing in a finite world, capable of creating and experiencing abundance beyond your wildest dreams. Chapter 10. Living from the Infinite Source. Maintaining connection to the universal flow of prosperity and expanding your capacity to receive. As we reach the culmination of this transformational journey together, you stand at the threshold of a profound recognition. You are not a separate being trying to extract abundance from a resistant universe. You are an expression of the same infinite creative intelligence that generates stars, orchestrates ecosystems, and maintains the intricate dance of cosmic forces that sustain all life. The abundance you've been seeking has never been separate from you. It is the very essence of the creative power that is expressing itself as you. This recognition changes everything. When you truly understand that you are not disconnected from the source of all prosperity, but are actually a unique manifestation of that source, your entire relationship with abundance transforms from effortful acquisition to effortless expression. You stop trying to get abundance from the universe and start allowing abundance to flow through you as the universe. Living from the infinite source means recognizing that the same intelligence that coordinates the perfect timing of seasons, the precise orbits of planets, and the flawless functioning of your heartbeat is also orchestrating the perfect conditions for your prosperity. Your role is not to figure out how to make abundance happen. Your role is to align with the intelligence that is already making abundance happen through you and as you. This is the secret that the most prosperous individuals throughout history have discovered. Wealth is not created through struggle, manipulation, or competition with others. True abundance flows naturally from alignment with the creative principle that underlies all existence. When you live from this infinite source, prosperity becomes as natural as breathing, as effortless as the circulation of blood through your veins, and as inevitable as the sunrise. The source. Recognition. The first step in living from the infinite source is recognizing that this source is not separate from you. It's not something you need to connect to, reach for, or earn access to. The infinite creative intelligence that generates all abundance is the very consciousness through which you are reading these words. the awareness that is having this experience, the life force that animates your body and illuminates your mind. When mystics throughout history have spoken of God, the universe, the field, or source, they were pointing to this same creative intelligence that you experience as your own consciousness when it's not clouded by limiting beliefs, survival fears, or separation thinking. The prosperity you seek is not coming from some external source. It's emerging from the same infinite creativity that is your essential nature. This recognition typically happens in moments of profound stillness, deep meditation, or expanded awareness when the boundaries between you and the universe temporarily dissolve. In these moments, you experience yourself not as a small, separate being hoping to receive abundance, but as an expression of the infinite abundance itself, temporarily focused through the lens of your individual experience. Dr. David Hawkins described this recognition as crossing the threshold from seeking to being. When you're seeking abundance, you're operating from the premise that you lack what you desire. When you're being abundance, you're operating from the recognition that you are what you have been seeking. The flow state of prosperity. When you're aligned with the infinite source, creating prosperity feels less like work and more like play. You enter what we call the flow state of prosperity, a condition where opportunities arise naturally, resources appear when needed, and actions feel inspired rather than forced. In this state, you're not pushing against resistance or swimming upstream. You're riding the current of creative intelligence that wants to express itself through your unique gifts and vision. This flow state is characterized by several unmistakable qualities. Time seems to expand, allowing you to accomplish more with less effort. Synchronicities increase dramatically, with the right people and opportunities appearing at precisely the right moments. Decision-making becomes intuitive rather than analytical, with clear knowing arising about which directions to pursue. Energy levels remain high, even during busy periods, because you're working with natural forces rather than against them. Consider the experience of Thomas, a software developer who had been struggling to build his tech startup for 3 years. Despite his technical skills and market knowledge, progress felt exhausting, and obstacles seemed insurmountable. The transformation occurred during a meditation retreat when Thomas experienced what he described as dropping into the flow of creation itself. When Thomas returned to his business, everything changed. He found himself making decisions from intuitive knowing rather than analytical overthinking. The right investors appeared through unexpected connections. His team began functioning with unprecedented harmony and creativity. Product development accelerated without increasing stress. Within 6 months, his company had secured major funding and was on track to achieve the success that had eluded him during years of effortful struggle. The key was that Thomas had stopped trying to force his business to succeed and started allowing the creative intelligence of the universe to express itself through his business. He became a conduit for innovation rather than the sole source of innovation. The expansion principle. One of the most remarkable aspects of living from the infinite source is that your capacity to receive and create abundance naturally expands over time. Unlike resources that diminish with use, consciousness grows through expression. The more abundance you allow to flow through your life, the more abundance you become capable of receiving and channeling. This expansion happens because abundance consciousness is not limited by physical constraints. Your bank account has a finite capacity, but your ability to generate value, create solutions, and attract resources is literally unlimited. As you become more skilled at channeling creative intelligence, you can handle larger amounts of wealth, greater responsibilities, and more complex projects without becoming overwhelmed or losing your center. The expansion principle explains why some individuals can lose significant wealth and quickly regenerate it, while others struggle to create modest prosperity even with considerable effort. Those who have learned to live from the infinite source understand that their true wealth lies not in what they have accumulated, but in their capacity to generate, attract, and steward abundance. This capacity only grows stronger with practice and can never be taken away by external circumstances. The receiving paradox. Perhaps the most counterintuitive aspect of living from the infinite source is learning to receive abundance as effortlessly as you give it. Many spiritually minded people become quite skilled at generosity, but struggle with receiving, unconsciously believing that it's more noble to give than to receive. However, the infinite source operates through circulation rather than one-way flow. To maintain alignment with this source, you must become equally open to receiving as you are committed to giving. This receiving capacity requires releasing the unconscious guilt, unworthiness, or control patterns that block your ability to accept support, gifts, opportunities, and abundance from others. When you're truly connected to the infinite source, you understand that receiving gracefully is a service to the giver and a way of honoring the circular flow of abundance that wants to move through all beings. The paradox is that the more you try to control or earn abundance, the more you block its natural flow. But when you relax into receiving what the universe wants to give you, when you become curious about what wants to emerge through you, rather than insisting on specific outcomes, abundance flows with surprising ease and in forms you never could have imagined. The service integration. As you mature in your connection to the infinite source, you naturally discover that your greatest fulfillment comes not from what you can acquire for yourself, but from what you can contribute through yourself. The creative intelligence that sources all abundance is inherently generous, always seeking to create value, solve problems, and enhance life for all beings. When you align with this intelligence, you become a natural vehicle for its beneficent expression. This doesn't mean sacrificing your own prosperity for others. It means recognizing that your prosperity and others' prosperity are not separate phenomena. When you're truly connected to the infinite source, serving others' highest good naturally serves your own highest good because you're no longer operating from separation consciousness. The most sustainably prosperous individuals are those who have found ways to align their natural talents with meaningful service to others. Their wealth feels earned because it's generated through creating genuine value. Their success feels satisfying because it contributes to the well-being of others. Their abundance feels sustainable because it's rooted in principles that serve the evolution of consciousness rather than just personal accumulation. The trust dimension. Living from the infinite source requires developing what we call cosmic trust, a deep faith in the intelligence and benevolence of the creative forces that orchestrate reality. This trust is not blind faith or passive wishful thinking. It's an earned confidence based on your growing experience of how universal intelligence actually operates when you align with it. Cosmic trust means believing that the same intelligence that perfectly coordinates the migration of birds, the changing of seasons, and the healing of your body is also coordinating the perfect conditions for your prosperity. It means trusting that obstacles and delays often contain hidden gifts, and that apparent setbacks frequently redirect you toward even better outcomes than you had originally envisioned. This trust allows you to navigate uncertainty with grace, make decisions from wisdom rather than fear, and remain open to possibilities that exceed your current imagination. When you trust the process of cosmic intelligence, you can take inspired action without needing to see the entire path ahead. You can invest energy in projects that feel aligned without demanding guarantees about outcomes. The quantum relationship. At the deepest level, living from the infinite source means understanding that you exist in a quantum relationship with abundance. Just as quantum physics reveals that particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, abundance exists in infinite potential forms until you collapse it into specific manifestations through your consciousness and choices. This quantum relationship means that your abundant future already exists in potential form within the field of infinite possibility. Your role is not to create abundance from nothing, but to select which of the infinite abundant possibilities you want to experience as your reality. This selection happens through the combination of clear intention, elevated emotion, and aligned action that we've explored throughout this journey. Understanding this quantum relationship eliminates the struggle and effort that most people associate with creating wealth. When you know that abundance already exists in potential form, you stop trying to force it into existence and start allowing it to emerge through your conscious participation in the creative process. The continuous unfoldment. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of living from the infinite source is recognizing that abundance is not a destination you reach, but a continuous unfoldment you participate in. There is no final level of prosperity beyond which no growth is possible. The infinite source is exactly that, infinite, which means there are always new levels of creativity, contribution, and abundance available to explore. This perspective removes the pressure to achieve specific financial goals by certain deadlines and replaces it with curiosity about what wants to emerge through you next. It transforms the anxiety of not having enough into the excitement of what's possible now. It shifts your focus from accumulating wealth to expressing your highest potential in forms that naturally generate abundance. The continuous unfoldment also means that your prosperity journey never becomes boring or routine. Each level of abundance brings new opportunities for growth, new forms of service, and new ways to participate in the cosmic creativity that sources all manifestation. The integration practice. As you begin to live from the infinite source, it's important to develop daily practices that maintain your alignment with this deeper reality. These practices serve as reminders of your true nature and keep you centered in abundance consciousness, even when external circumstances might suggest limitation. Your integration practice might include meditation or quiet time where you reconnect with the source of your being. It could involve gratitude practices where you acknowledge the abundance that's already flowing through your life. It might include visualization sessions where you experience yourself as an expression of infinite creativity. It could involve journaling or reflection where you notice how universal intelligence is orchestrating support for your highest good. The key is consistency rather than intensity. A few minutes daily of genuine connection to your source is more powerful than occasional lengthy sessions. The goal is to make living from the infinite source your normal state, rather than something you access only during special practices. The ripple effect. When you live from the infinite source, your prosperity consciousness naturally influences everyone around you. You become a living demonstration that abundance is real, achievable, and sustainable. Your success gives others permission to claim their own prosperity. Your generosity inspires others to share their gifts more freely. Your trust in universal intelligence encourages others to take inspired risks and follow their authentic path. This ripple effect is part of the cosmic intelligence that sources all abundance. When you align with this intelligence, you automatically become a conduit for its expansion through the collective consciousness. Your individual prosperity contributes to the prosperity of all beings by demonstrating what's possible and by creating conditions that support others. Success. The infinite journey. As we conclude this transformational journey together, remember that you're not reaching an end, but a beginning. You now have the understanding, tools, and awareness to live from the infinite source of all prosperity. Every day offers new opportunities to deepen your alignment, expand your capacity, and express your abundance more fully. The mind that attracted you to this book, the mind that sensed there was more abundance available than you were currently experiencing, is the same infinite intelligence that sources all prosperity. You are not accidentally drawn to this information. You are called by the creative force that wants to express greater abundance through your unique gifts, vision, and service. Your prosperity is not just a personal goal, it's a cosmic imperative. The universe needs what you have to offer, and it will support your abundance because your success serves the evolution of consciousness and the betterment of life for all beings. Trust the process. Follow the guidance. Take inspired action. Remain open to possibilities that exceed your current imagination. And remember always that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. You are that source, temporarily expressing itself through the magnificent vehicle of your human experience. The infinite source of all prosperity is not something you connect to. It's something you are. The abundant life you've been seeking is not something you achieve. It's something you embody. The wealth you desire is not something you acquire. It's something you express. Welcome to living from the infinite source. Welcome to the life of effortless abundance. Welcome to your true nature as prosperity itself in human form. Your journey into unlimited abundance begins now.